Good morning, distinguished guests, esteemed speakers, and valued participants. It is my privilege and honor to welcome you to the Jamaica Customs Agency's lecture series under the compelling theme, Unearthing Innovation, charting the course for Jamaica Customs in a dynamic world. This series serves as a testament to the Jamaica Customs Agency's steadfast commitment to efficiency, security, and prosperity. In a world where global trade flows are increasingly complex, security threats are evolving, and customer expectations are rising, customs agencies must continuously innovate to remain effective. Today, we explore transformative ideas and solutions that will redefine customs operations and enhance the agency's ability to deliver on its promise of securing Jamaica's borders, streamlining trade, and contributing to the nation's economic growth. Through insightful presentations and dynamic discussions, we will gain valuable perspectives on how Jamaica Customs can lead the charge in creating a more secure, efficient, and prosperous future. As your moderator, I am honored to guide today's discussions and ensure an engaging experience for all. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome our distinguished persons among us and those joining us online. I pause to introduce Dr. Velma Ricketts Walker. She is the Commissioner and CEO of the Jamaica Customs Agency. Dr. Walker, please be acknowledged. Dr. Kevin Brown, President of the University of Technology, very small in stature, but really carries his weight well. Professor Sean Thorpe, Guest Lecturer and Dean of the Faculty of Engineering and Computing here at UTech. Dr. Thorpe. You see, we share similar names spelled the same way, but my glasses are smaller, his are larger, based on his portfolio. Mrs. Selina Clark-Graham, Deputy Chief Executive Officer and Deputy Commissioner of the Jamaica Customs Agency. Mrs. Clark-Graham. Joining us online is Mr. Marlon Lowe, Deputy CEO with the responsibility for border protection at the Jamaica Customs Agency. Our senior management team, and I see Mrs. Chandelaine Davis, Senior Director for International and Industry Liaison. I see Mrs. Patricia Wigan Chambers, Senior Director for Executive Services. I see Mrs. Rosemary Warp. She is a Senior Director for Western Operations. I see Mr. Kirk Benjamin, Senior Director for Central Operations. I see Mr. Kingsley Henry, Senior Director for the Non-Intrusive Inspection and Security Management Branch. Ms. Tamara Reed Archer Reed, yes. She's a Senior Director for Human Resources. Almost I don't have any job, right? Ms. Janice Baker, Director for Marine Operations, and of course, our Director for Budget and something in accounting, Matthew Smith-Barrett. Mrs. Janice Walker, Senior Director with responsibility for Kingston Operations. I see my boss, Mr. Earl Stewart, Director for Planning and Research Branch. Where is Mr. Andre Williams? He is the Chief Information Officer. I see managers, directors. I see Ms. Shelley Ann Horton, Director from Montego Bay Western Operations. Ms. Keisha, right? Ms. Keisha Dixon. Yes, I remember. She shares a similar maiden name as my mother. One of the managers from the Western branch. And of course, Ms. Jason Mighty, manager at the branch as well. I see representatives from the Jamaica Customs Agency. Ms. Shauna Lee Jackson, our Senior Revenue Analyst, as well as other members from the branch. Mishka, yes, one of the revenue analysts as well. We welcome you. Mr. Rick Darby, he is the president of UTech, Jamaica's Students' Union Council. Mr. Rick Darby. Mr. Rick Darby? I'm not, okay. And of course, we have with us Mr. Donovan Wignall. Mr. Donovan Wignall, yes. Does anybody know who he is? Anybody can tell me? He is the president of Micro, Small, and Medium what? Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprise. What else? He's also the CEO of the International Logistics and Parcel Post Courier Service. Yes. So remember that. You want me to tell you again? He's the CEO of International Logistics and Parcel Post Courier Service. Clap yourselves, Customs. You are on this ball. Mr. Ivor Bennett, he's the Director of Marketing here at UTech, University of Technology. We have also with us Ms. Florence Howe. She's the Head of Department, Shipping and Logistics Faculty at the Caribbean Maritime University, Customs Processes, Freight Forwarding and Immigration, soon to be renamed Border Operations Management. Ms. Florence Howe is also former Deputy Commissioner of the Jamaica Customs Agency. Who is that? I see others with her. Yes. Yes. Curriculum specialist. And there you go. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be with us today. I save the best for last. Representatives from the University of the West Indies, or online viewers and participants. Let me welcome you all, but before I do so, members from the press, welcome. And I welcome also some brilliant students from the Caribbean Maritime University. I'll ask them to stand. Please stand and be acknowledged if you're brilliant. Oh, and we have the reigning Mr. Caribbean Maritime University with us as well. Or the rest of you can sit and leave the Mr. CMU to stand. Mr. CMU, wave for the rest. He was crowned Mr. Caribbean Maritime University last year. All right, in Maga, that's why I'm winning. Fat people don't have a chance. So all these students, yes, them bright, because I taught all of them. All of them. Let me see who's the brightest. Yes, see the brightest one there? Just look, whichever one eyelash longer, that's the brightest one. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite at this time, right? The students and representatives from the University of Technology are here as well. May I see my UTech representatives? UTech reps, okay. Northern Caribbean University representatives, please stand and be acknowledged. They were here early. I don't know if they're all Adventists, but one thing with the Adventists, they're ever early. And then can sing. When you can sing, don't? Yeah, man, I want a song from one later. Yeah? Right, Northern Caribbean University. I'm hoping that I'm not missing any other members of Jamaica, invited guests, all well-wishers, participants. A special welcome to you all. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask us to assume a posture of reverence as I invite Mrs. Janice Walker, Senior Director with responsibility for Kingston operations, to come and lead us into prayer.
Good morning, everyone. Let us pray. Most righteous and heavenly Father, today, Lord, we come to you, giving you thanks and praise. Lord, we thank you for this day that you have blessed us with. We thank you because it's a beautiful Friday morning. You have blessed us with some rain, and we're grateful, Lord. Lord, we are thanking you for bringing us here safely this day. Thanking you for protecting us throughout the night with our families, Lord. Father, we know these are things we sometimes overlook and take for granted. But today, Lord, we are coming to you, giving you thanks and letting you know that we acknowledge that you are present in our lives, Lord, and that is why we are able to see a new day. Lord, as we gather here this morning, Lord, we pray your blessings on this function, Lord. We pray for the speakers. We pray for all the persons who will be delivering to us, Lord. We ask that you grant them knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Lord, we are grateful to you, Lord, because since we have started this Customs Week, Lord. You have been with us. You have taken us through to the end, today, the last day, Lord, and we know you'll continue to bless us in whatever we do, Lord. Father God, we thank you always and we give you praise for all that you'll do and have done for us and for all that you will be doing for us, Lord. All these mercies we ask. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Walker. She's fast becoming the prayer warrior of customs. At this time, I welcome to bring greetings our Chief Executive Officer and Commissioner of Customs, Dr. Velma Ricketts Walker, CDJP. Please make her welcome.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are we doing? Yeah. So, you would have recognized by now that our moderator, Mr. Sean Barrow, is also a troublemaker. So, please, I ask you to forgive him. I hope that Janice Walker, when she offered prayer, would have interceded on his behalf. Yes? So our moderator, Sean Barrow, President of the University of Technology, Jamaica, Dr. Kevin Brown, Dean of Faculty of Engineering and Computing, and also a guest lecturer, Professor Sean Thorpe. Esteemed students, practitioners, and thought leaders, members of the media, our online audience, members of the Jamaica Customs Agency, good morning. No, man, let me hear a better good morning, huh? Yeah, so yeah. Even if you didn't have the coffee, fake it and say, it is indeed a beautiful day. You know, we had a little rain, but that's the blessing of our Father, Heavenly Father, yes? So I am delighted to be here with you today, and it is indeed my distinct honor to welcome you to the inaugural Customs Lecture Series and Dialogue, an initiative that underscores the Jamaica Customs Agency's commitment to innovation, partnership, collaboration, and transformation as we celebrate International Customs Day under the theme Customs Delivering on its Commitment to Efficiency, Security, and Prosperity. And these three pillars are not just words to us. They are the foundation of everything we do at the Jamaica Customs Agency. So when we talk about efficiency, we're talking about making trade smoother so that businesses can grow and consumers, such as yourselves, can get what you need faster. And this is evident in our physical inspection reform. I was expecting someone to look up when I said that. In our contactless clearance process, in our mobile app, JA Customs Connect, in us advancing our customs systems and advancing digitalization. And when we talk about security, we're talking about protecting our borders from illegal trade, counterfeit goods, and threats that could harm our people and our economy. And of course, this is evident in the non-intrusive inspection reform, technological integration, our risk-based methodologies, and realizing greater enforcement results. And when we speak of that, we're talking about the seizures. I hope you're following the radio and the news and the social media just to hear the extent to which customs has been having unprecedented seizures of illicit items. Yes? And when we talk about prosperity, we are ensuring that Jamaica benefit from fair trade, strong partnerships, and sustainable development. For example, our authorized economic operator program, our customs business interaction, and other trade facilitation programs, including the diligent way we ensure that we collect the much needed revenue in an equitable and fair manner. So I'm going to beg you at this time to give the agency a clap for that. Yeah? So today we embark on a journey of dialogue and discovery, exploring the critical role of customs in securing our borders, facilitating trade, and driving national development. This lecture series and dialogue will provide a space where we can unpack big ideas, challenge assumptions, and yes, even get inspired by the fascinating world of customs. Now, I'm looking upon some of the students, and I know some of you might be thinking, customs? Aren't those the persons who, clear goods at our clearance point, whether it be the airports, seaports, and other places? Well, we are happy, certainly I am, to highlight how vital our work is to Jamaica's growth. Customs is at the heart of national security, economic growth, and international trade. So every time you order something online, travel, and enjoy imported snacks, the Jamaica Customs Agency plays a crucial role in making that possible. Think about it. Jamaica Customs helps to ensure your favorite gadgets, clothes, medical supplies, school supplies, and some of the treats that you like to eat make it to our shores efficiently. And we continue to do our utmost best to secure our borders so you can feel safe. And we continue to support businesses that support and propel economic growth. So it is fittingly appropriate that we are here today at this inaugural Customs Lecture Series and Dialogue to explore how you, the next generation of leaders, thinkers, and innovators, can help shape Jamaica's future through the lens of customs. The work of customs goes far beyond collecting duties. It is a dynamic and multifaceted field that touches the lives of every citizen and shapes the trajectory of our nation's prosperity. Customs isn't just about rules and regulations. It's about innovation, collaboration, and building a better future. So, whether it's leveraging technology like artificial intelligence to streamlining trade or working with global partners to stop illicit activities, we at the Jamaica Customs Agency are constantly evolving. And I trust that you are doing the same. Yeah? So as students and academics, you represent the future, the leaders, the innovators, the visionaries, who will redefine how we engage with global commerce and security. Through this lecture series and dialogue, we aim to spark meaningful conversations about the role of customs, its impact on economic growth, and the exciting career opportunities customs offers. Again, customs is an exciting and dynamic field with opportunities that touch international trade, border security, law, technology, corporate services, health, and even environmental protection. So just to say that within customs, the common thing of talking about lawyer, doctor, Indian chief, you got it there at customs. Eh? So whether you aspire to be a trade expert, a border security innovator, a leader in international logistics, customs presents a world of possibilities for those who are those with the courage to innovate and the passion to lead. Am I talking about you? Am I talking about you? Yes, let me hear if I'm talking about you, right? So today's customs officers are data analysts, research analysts, AI specialists, trade negotiators. Shandy, it sound like you? Yes? Cybersecurity experts and economic strategists. Yes. And this is to the students. If you are still figuring out your career path, just consider this. A career in customs is a passport to the world. Let me repeat that. A career in customs is a passport to the world. Yes, it is true, yes? You could be one of the change makers helping to shape Jamaica's economy and global standing. Working in customs is not just a job, it is a purpose. I must declare, though, that I am extremely passionate about customs. So if I appear biased, please forgive me. Yes? However, beyond careers, today is about conversation and collaboration, yes? We are here to challenge ideas, share insights, and open doors to new opportunities. The Jamaica Customs Agency is about creating solutions. Our focus on efficiency ensures that goods and services flow seamlessly to support businesses and individuals. Our commitment to security protects Jamaica from illicit trade and foster a safe environment for growth. And through our dedication to prosperity, we partner with stakeholders to build a more robust and resilient economy. But this is only possible through collaboration and partnership. So if I could just have your attention for this statement. It is in spaces like this, right here at UTEC, University of Technology, Jamaica, right? Where academia meets practice and ideas meet action, that innovation is born. Are you following me? I'm going to repeat it. So it is in spaces such as this that we're here, the University of Technology, Jamaica. And I thank Dr. Brown for allowing us the opportunity to be here in this space. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody, I wanted to give him a clap. Right? Because it is here, in these type of space, where academia meets practice and ideas meet action, where innovation is born. And remember I said, customs is about innovation. We're here to collaborate, to partner, and to transform. So today, during the lecture and panel discussion, I urge you to be bold, to question, and to contribute your perspectives to these vital discussions. As we celebrate Customs Week 2025, let us recognize that every effort in customs is a step towards building a better Jamaica. Am I right? Every effort in customs is a step towards building a better Jamaica. And we want you, all right, yeah, man, work it. And so we want you to see us as partners in development. We are here to inspire bold ideas and welcome the next generation of leaders. So whether you're here to learn, to debate, or just network with professionals, I encourage you to engage, ask bold questions, think critically, be part of the dialogue that will shape the future of trade and security in Jamaica. I certainly hope that you will leave here today with a deeper appreciation of the incredible work of Jamaica Customs. Let us inspire each other to see beyond the horizon, to understand the vast opportunities in customs, and to take an active role in shaping Jamaica's future. So thank you so much for joining us today. Together, let us transform perspectives, build connections, and pave the way for a more efficient, secure, and prosperous Jamaica. I understand that I have a task that was given to me about an hour before I came here by my PR that I should open. I didn't know that, right? I thought I should welcome. So at this time I say, as CEO and Commissioner of the Jamaica Customs Agency, I now take this opportunity to open the Customs Lecture Series and Dialogue. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Madam Commissioner, Dr. Velma Ricketts-Walker, CDJP. Now I have some giveaways. I want you to tell me, remember I said to turn your phones off, you must not consult Google. So do anybody seen consulting Google? And if I hear Miss Howe whispering the question to any of our students, whispering the answer to any of our students here, I want you to tell me how long has customs been around? It has gone through different nomenclatures, different names, Jamaica Customs Department, Collector Generals. How long? You're excluded, Miss Davis. This is for persons external to customs. All right? How long has the Jamaica Customs Agency been operating? At this time, we take the pleasure of inviting, not just yet, a distinguished gentleman, Dr. Kevin Brown, PhD, M Engineering Honors, AMIMECHE. I can't pronounce that word. Anybody can pronounce it for me? Yes, it's an acronym. He's here today as a 5th president of the University of Technology Jamaica, and he has been at the helm since September 11, 2023. He is no ordinary Jamaican, as he has over 18 years experience in the fields of academia and aerospace. So he's a bright, bright man, you know, yes. The Lord never bless him in the height department, but him bless him in the brain department. A technical expert in complex and integrated aerospace structural system design, and a thought leader in transport systems engineering materials and numerical computational analysis. Now some of the words in my resume, I never book them up from my barn. So in the interest of saving time, ladies and gentlemen, the distinguished Dr. Kevin Brown. President of the University of Technology, is coming to greet us.
Yes. Oh man, I tell you, thank you so much, Mr. Barrow. You are certainly entertaining us, and I really appreciate your moderation of today's event. I know you did a very thorough job at the protocols and listing all the guests and members of customs who are here. But nonetheless, let me also express my acknowledgement and welcome to Dr. Velma Ricketts-Walker, CEO and Commissioner of Jamaica Customs Agency. I'm really happy to have you here on our campus, and I hope that this will be one of many visits and collaboration between us and your agency. We are fellow public institutions, and I believe that we should be working together. And I'm also equally pleased to see other universities here. Let me express my welcome to the CMU students, always dressed in their uniforms. Good to see you here. And also NCU, I'm told, is here. And our friends next door, UW Mona. So we're all in the business of education and transformation. And I can tell you from my own personal journey that tertiary education was a platform to everything else that I've achieved in life. All those technical terms that Mr. Barrow was trying to pronounce. I'm an engineer, and you have to excuse me for that, but it all started here at UTech. So I encourage you students to do well in your studies, because it will be transformational, I guarantee it. You can't see it now, but in 10, 15 years time, you'll really look back and say, wow, look at my life now. So education is very important, and that's why I'm really pleased to have members of the Jamaica Customs Agency here. I realize there's a strong turnout of the leadership team. I was having a conversation with some members here about the technological transformation that's happening at the Customs Agency, and I'm really pleased to hear about it, and I trust that UTech will assist where we can. We have a very strong computing program, and you have a relationship with Professor Thorpe. Please maximize it, because we want to assist you as well. You don't need to go to foreign consultants. And I say that with no apology. The talent is here. The foreign companies are coming here. And maybe Professor Thorpe will say it in his speech. Microsoft is here, has been here for 3 years taking our students. So where are you going overseas to get foreign consultants when they're coming here to take our students? And I say this to the government all the time. Stop going overseas. If you can't get the support from UTech, go to UWI. The talent is here. Go to CMU or NCU. The talent is here. Pay the big bucks to our people. All right? So, because if all the things that you were saying in my CV, I did overseas.
Yes, Rolls-Royce.
Right. Then clearly, and I remained as Jamaican as it gets. So clearly we have the talent, right? So we need to utilize our own people, and I look forward to the app. I was being introduced to it, and I see all the strides being made by the agency. So I want to thank the agency and everyone present for being here. We really appreciate the opportunity to be part of your lecture series and dialogue. And we look forward to hearing from our very own Professor Sean Thorpe, who is the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering and Computing. And let me also welcome other members of staff who are here, and our students and members of the media. I heard the commissioner speak about collaboration and partnership, and that's what UTech is all about. And certainly that's what I've been promoting. We're not here to compete, we're here to collaborate. The University of Technology does its own unique thing, so we don't need to compete with other institutions. We want to work with other tertiary institutions because we all have unique things to deliver to the nation. CMU has a very distinct thing that it's doing around maritime and logistics. UTech is doing STEM, UE is doing everything, right? And so on. And so we all complement each other, and we're all public bodies trying to deliver your workforce. I know you have some of our talent already, Commissioner, and we will continue to deliver more. I know Sean is working hard to produce really good computing students for you. And I know we're also observing International Customs Day, which was observed on the 26th of January. And this, of course, highlights the global developments around customs. And this year's theme, I'm noticing, is customs delivering on its commitment to efficiency, security, and prosperity. And, you know, I know Commissioner Walker underscored the crucial role that customs plays in Jamaica's economic growth. I must say that when I was much younger, we all had a fear of going through customs, right? I wonder if they would dig up my bag, and I want, you know, I want never hide the rum properly, and you know, and I'm really pleased to say that that is changing, right? Gone are the days when you filled in a little sheet to say, yes, nothing to declare, nothing to declare. And it's now online. And, you know, nobody's raking through your bags because they have the scanners, right? So that embarrassment of opening up and showing you mango that you shouldn't bring in or something. So, you know, we are seeing the evolution, Commissioner. As an ordinary citizen, I want to express my gratitude to the agency, and I encourage you to keep going, right? And I know that you're working with PICA. I can see the electronic gates. By just using my passport, I can go through. I don't have to speak to an immigration officer, and so on. This is where Jamaica needs to go. So I want to express my gratitude and encourage you to continue, and work with us at UTech. You know, you're developing apps. We have students. You can access our students to work on those apps with you as well. Because we are Jamaica's national STEM university. We are dedicated to our mission of developing the next generation of Jamaica's workforce. But we're also involved in research, applied research. And if Jamaica Customs Agency has any technical problems, you should be here speaking to Prof. Thorpe and others, asking us to help you solve them, right? We have very talented academics and students as well. But what is unique about UTech, and we will not change this, even after my time, we have been doing it for 66 years and we will continue, is that we are committed to integrating academic theory with experiential learning. We are a hands-on university. So we don't produce work-ready graduates by chance. It is because of that commitment. All our students have to do some practical experience here in the labs, and how we teach is project-based. Even our business students have to learn to sell something, right? We don't just teach business theory. They have to sell something. So if you come on campus and you see a student say they're selling your banana chips because they're raising money for their conference, it's a business student, right? Because, yes, buy it. Because although they're learning all the fancy theory, and we even have a Bloomberg finance lab on campus where they learn in the stock market and so on, but we still insist, go out there and start a little thing and learn the basics of business. Practice it, go and sell something, right? So even the business students have to be hands-on. The law students are the same. We teach them as if they're going to practice law. That's our curriculum. It's different. And then it's any one of you who have come to UTech and then you go to next door UE, you will know it's different. And I say that to emphasize that we shouldn't compare the institutions. We all have our preeminence. UE has its preeminence in what it does, and so does UTech. And no one is a lesser child of each other. We are doing different things. We're delivering a different workforce. But it's all for the greater good of our country. And so for UTech, we are responding to technological change. We have introduced courses such as applied artificial intelligence, computer network and cybersecurity, and much more. And we will continue to introduce new courses as and when required. And for those of you at the agency who feel like you need to upgrade, we have short courses as well, and we keep evolving in the number of courses that we curate. But I want to say to Commissioner that if her team have courses that you haven't seen us produce, but you want us to, come and tell us, and we will develop something unique for you if required. So the value of our partnership with the agency in building industry-specific training is very important for us. We want to make sure that the graduates that we put out there are relevant to what you want, and it's not just based on our academic needs and desire. So once again, Commissioner, members of the agency, the JCA, everyone present, I want to express again our gratitude for this partnership. We hope that this will be one of many opportunities to discuss the importance of customs and the importance of collaboration between the customs agency and all our higher education institutions, right? And in the end, what we want to see is our country prosper. And I say this as my final thing to you, that one of the things that we now need to pivot towards as a country is that, yes, we should continue to be known for reggae music, and we should be known for sand and sea and our great culture, but we must be known for having a highly educated workforce. And that is how you're going to attract more foreign direct investment and more activities through the ports to keep your agency busy, because companies will come here, and rather than our students having to leave, these companies will set up shop here with technical jobs, not just customer care and all of that, but technical jobs in engineering and information technology, hiring our technical students and keeping them in this country. 80% of our tertiary education students leave. I left 23 years in the cold. I wish I could be here, and it's until Jamaica develops that very strong reputation for having that highly educated STEM workforce that we'll be able to keep more of us here. So that's the journey we're on. It's a challenge for UTech, it's a challenge for CMU, UE, and all of us to continue to produce the graduates, but we have to collaborate as public sector institutions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Brown. I concur with his pronouncements, especially paying the big bucks to Jamaicans. And I like the collaborative and partnership thrust. Thank you, Dr. Brown. Now, and I saw Dr. Brown, saw and heard him getting some very loud applauses. I saw Kirk Benjamin. Please stand, Mr. Benjamin. He's a graduate of the University of Technology. Remain standing. I saw Mr. Earl Stewart applauding and showing me his UTech ring. Please stand, Mr. Stewart, and remain standing. I saw Matthew Smith Barrett. Yeah, please stand and remain standing. Yes. And UTech graduate? Okay, all right. All right. Okay, all right. And Dr. Brown, I'm going to ask you to stand with them. And that's exactly, so you qualify. I'd like Mr. Videographer to capture the past. Just remain standing. And I'd like all of you to take a look and tell me what you've seen. Any females here from UTech? Yes. Where? Oh, you see, please stand. I'm so sorry. Please stand as well. Anybody else here? All right. No, thank you, Commissioner. And thank you for even underscoring my point even more, for having the ladies stand. I want you all to look and tell me what you see in common. Thank you, Jesus. All right, you may be seated. It's obviously a distinguishing feature among UTech graduates. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being very attentive and engaging. I did promise that it would have been an engaging series. Has anyone found the answer to my question? Nobody has yet? Miss Howard, remember, you're not permitted to assist them. Has anyone? All right, moving on. Moving on. NCU coming up to you shortly. At this time, I am going to be inviting Miss Jacinth Mighty. She is a manager for Western Operations at the Jamaica Customs Agency. She's located in St. James, Montego Bay, St. James. She will be coming to introduce our guest presenter in the person of Professor Sean Thorpe. Please make her welcome as she comes. And after that, you'll be hearing our guest presenter. You can clearly see that she never got UTech, not true?
As a proud, tall University of the West Indies graduate, it is my distinct honor, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce our illustrious guest presenter. I was given such a wonderful task. When I read his profile, you'll know why I say he's indeed illustrious. Sean Thorpe has been a full professor and Dean of the Faculty of Engineering and Computing since July 2022. He's the immediate past head of the School of Computing and Information Technology, a position which he held from October 2016 to June 2022 at the University of Technology. Dr. Thorpe is also a past president of the Jamaica Computer Society. He holds PhD, MSc, and BSc degrees in Information Security and Computer Science. In February 2013, he was the University of Technology's inaugural PhD graduate. He obtained his master's from the University of Westminster, London, UK in November 2002. And guess what? His BSc from the University of the West Indies, Mona Campus, Jamaica, in November 2000. So we will take some claim for Professor Thorpe. Dr. Thorpe has obtained CAS diploma in computer studies in 1995. He joined the UTech as lecturer in January 2003 with responsibility for teaching system security at the undergraduate and graduate levels. Dr. Thorpe has worked extensively in the local and international IT industry since 1993. He has worked in the area of technical customer services, program analyst, database administrator, and an information security consultant before joining academia in 2000. In 2009, he was the recipient of the renowned Fulbright Visiting Faculty Scholarship Award to Harvard University, where he did collaborative research work in cybersecurity at the Department of Computer Science. He is also the 2014 University Presidential Research Award Fellow at UTech. Dr. Thorpe, for the years 2011, 2012, 2013, received the American National Science Foundation Award for contributions to research in the areas of cloud computing and data mining. His ongoing research interests are information security, digital forensics, software-defined networking, fog computing, green computing, and social media security. Put up your hands if you know what all of these mean. Dr. Thorpe is well published with over 100 peer-reviewed conference and journal articles in the areas of, what do you think? Information security, cloud computing, and digital forensics since the start of his academic career. He volunteers on several local and international research initiatives, but quite distinguished is his involvement with the Institute of Electronics Engineer, IEEE, and the Association of Computing Machinery, ACM, including service roles as program chair for the IEEE Security and Privacy Conference hosted in Oakland, California, USA. He has been appointed as senior IEE member since 2017 because of his distinguished contributions to the computing profession. Dr. Thorpe serves as on several advisory boards in higher education institutions, as well as the public and private sector. Notably, he serves as the chair of the ICT Governance Committee for the Jamaica Customs Agency. Dr. Thorpe is a strong believer in youth engagement and empowerment through education. Ladies and gentlemen, the illustrious Professor Sean Thorpe.
A pleasant good morning to you all and a blessed new year to everyone both in person and online. Trying to figure out how I'm going to stand now. If I have to stand on 1 feet for cars, you take on 1 feet for UWI. Right? But it is always, great to be in wonderful company. All right, so we're going to get started with the lecture right away because that's what we come to get in, and all protocols are respectfully observed. So I will need a roving mic. Is a roving mic available? It is coming. All right, and I'll ask the team to kindly project the deck for me. So let's say higher level. Higher level. I think customs agency is going to a higher level. This is working. You don't test this way. You have to test this. Okay, good. Boy, when you have two Seans in the room, sometimes I wonder if it could be problematic, right? But it's in all good things. So, all right, as you adjust the screen, because, and I think with permission I can use this podium. Can I? Yes. All right, so the talk this morning that we're going to have, and I do keep lectures in this room from time to time. Just be careful, right? I'm appreciative of that. So the context of the conversation we're going to have this morning is looking at how innovation and partnerships and collaboration has really pushed the customs agency. And I'm not going to give away Sean's answer to that question about when you had started as an entity and the name, because I think he has a prize for it. So I'm going to avoid that. So all right, here we go. All right, so it's my distinct pleasure to serve on customs ICT governance. I've been doing it for a few years now. And I must say, as a proud CAS graduate and, producing quite a few of the students who actually work with the agency, I'm particularly pleased to see the transformation of the entity and what it is doing today. So let's put some context to it. The Jamaica Customs Agency as an entity is really global, It's not a local entity, to the world. It is global. And when I say it is global, consistent with some of the points I heard earlier this morning, the agency is tied significantly to e-commerce. So you're right, when all our supplies come through the agency. You have a very complex supply chain, in how you actually transit those goods in and out of our borders. I would also contend that one of the important requirements in building out an entity that is global is that you must be agile and responsive to the needs, right, of your customer base, your stakeholder base. You use significantly digital platforms to drive your operations. And in the context of that, this can't be an ordinary entity. You're really technology in focus. You're driven by technology in focus. You use Industry 5.0 cutting-edge technology resources and provision of such services. I will contend in this lecture, and a food for thought before you get into the panel, that artificial intelligence is already at the thrust of the agency's operation. It's not like a wish list of activity, but it's already there. You're also fully engaged in how you treat with providing Internet of Things resources in support of how you monitor your ports and your borders. And one of the areas which significantly has to be considered in terms of the cybersecurity space is the use of blockchains to track, digital transactions in and out of the agency. So this is not a futuristic conversation I'm having. This is the conversation of now. This is the conversation of now. And against the background of that, I would say what Jamaica Customs Agency is doing, consistent with what other customs operations are worldwide, is that data is the center of our nerve operation of the entity. Hence, I would say data is the new oil, but we could also call it that data is the new currency for customs, right? It takes cash to care, but it takes data even more so to care because it has implications for revenue of the entity. So I would say when you pay careful attention to these things, this is not a normal entity as you would have known it years back. And I will say that the entity has a very long history in this country in terms of how it provides border support and provision of legitimate trade through its local ports. But key to this conversation is that this entity is highly collaborative, as the Commissioner alluded to in the beginning, and as President Brown is advocating for. The entity cannot operate without the reality of seeing that it's working with persons, both local, regional, and international, in managing and monitoring the operations across the entity. I sometimes wonder to myself, Commissioner, how you and the team manage to get through a regular day because of the number of operations that you have to be dealing with. While I join to look at the ICT component, I'm quite sure that the extent of the engagement is significantly more than that. So collaboration is crucial. And we'll do a bit more elaboration on that as we go through the presentation. So if we put this in a proper framing, the Jamaica Customs Agency is really leading the way as it relates to the transformation required in ensuring that you have a modern customs agency. Say higher level with me. Higher level. All right. It's all a whole new level of engagement. And hence, the staff who are working there, I'm sure, will have a multiplicity of skills, and they have to keep retooling as a function of that. So this is not just traditional border protection, where you're actually moving just basic goods in the traditional sense, but you have to analyze the data that is passing through the entity. So let's get into the conversation a little bit more. As we move in this century, this fast-moving century, and as you can see in the month of January, we wake up and there's so much transitions and transformations with the technologies. I don't want to get into any one specific, but it's really moving quickly. I am sure we have to position the conversation from a perspective to say that Jamaica Customs Agency has to be right there with everyone else in terms of how it is operating. your trade volumes are high through the local ports. The supply chain is complex. So sometimes when we have those governance meetings, I'd ask Andre in the explanation at the meetings to break down some of the things, because sometimes I feel like I'm in class or in school. Easily sometimes those board meetings could feel like in a lecture, but when he's finished, he does an excellent job with the entire team that comes to those meetings in breaking down what obtains. I will say this to say that Jamaica Customs Agency, in terms of its own operation, with managing the e-commerce through the local ports, in terms of what must come in and out when you buy things digitally, is very significant to the economic growth of the country, Jamaica Customs Agency is the gateway, right, or the gatekeeper to the economic growth and development of this island. Give themselves a round of applause for that. It's a lecture, but, we have to think about it within a particular context. So, but with anything that supports growth and development, there are some inherent challenges you can't get rid of, especially as we live in a digital world. As we live in this digital world, what is quite clear to us is that humans drive and manipulate how data is provided, and we have malicious actors, for want of a better word, from time to time, who pose security threats to the ecosystem of entities like Jamaica Customs. And hence, the security posture of the entity has to be what? Well positioned to ensure us against such things and to track the levels of risk relating to these things. Because for what it is worth, you have to deal with illicit trade engagement, smuggling of things across borders. People might actually misrepresent data, and hence the data that you're using 24/7 has to be consistent with how you treat with those operations. So customs must then adapt in its own operations every day. And I know you keep a lot of meetings and seminars and workshops and strategy sessions just to see to it that you're all on the same page with respect of how you're going to promote this efficiency inside of the entity. So let's underscore what I think we really should be looking at as it relates to the modern customs as an entity. Efficiency is crucial, so that was mentioned earlier, right? Security is crucial, and the facilitation of legitimate trade. These three pillars anchor how the entity must operate. And, sitting on the committees and going to a few sessions and meetings outside of those board meetings, you tend to learn a lot in terms of, what it is that the entity has to be doing. I will also argue as a function, right, of the modern customs entity that innovation has to be at the center of it. So in other words, it's not just about having smart tools or technology, but you must know what you're going to do with that smart set of tools, right, in order to drive the operation. And hence, Jamaica Customs Agency has to be very people-centric. Human involvement in the middle of that as collaborators to support the application of the technologies is very, very critical. Well, you're on the UTech compound today. We have CMU. We have, we are all collectively collaborating right now, in this particular conversation. And hence, when you put things into context, we should pay careful attention. Now, I do know that many students and graduates from this institution, UTech, have been working on several projects, right, at Jamaica Customs Agency. And I'm sure from all the other institutions here, UW and otherwise, would have been also working on different areas of the agency. But particularly useful in terms of what I'm seeing, which is very, very significant to the efficiency argument, is that single entry point, for how you have import and export documents moving in and out of the space, right? It really is a significant transformation element in terms of the J-SWIFT project that currently, supports significant traders, I mean, I know quite a few of my own friends who are in business and in small and medium-sized business who rely on this kind of service to drive their local operation. And hence, this is a significant feat to support the type of daily transactional activities that comes to Jamaica Customs. I should ask you how many customers you're serving per day. Anybody can tell me how many customers? This is a lecture, so we have to talk to each other. How many customers? Anybody can tell me? What's the customer base? On a daily basis, just what, at a high, approximately.
We have keyboard systems, we have in excess of
10,000. Now that is significant. And if you were to be doing that manually, and that's just on the system. You're just being conservative and nice with the numbers right now. That's what he's saying. And hence, the point we are trying to make is that you really want to improve the outcomes in such a way, because you are serving 3 million Jamaicans, by the way, at any one point. Is the entire country you're serving. And hence, with a certain amount of staff who need to sleep at night, right, you have to do digitalization of your environments to support the kind of outcome that you're looking for. What I realized with the J-Swift project, it really cuts down on the time, or the turnaround time to the business. And, you really have to use it to ensure that you have the high throughput for the traders who need to get those goods in country to conduct their daily business. If Jamaica Customs Agency closed down for even 5 or 10 minutes, we have a problem, regardless of whether it's a storm or not. Am I correct here? Yes, these are very good students, yes? These are very good students. And hence, the argument is clear in everyone's mind that the modernization has to be tied to the equivalent of things like your contact clearance processes. This is a big play. I mean, I can hear in the weekly or the monthly governance meetings, the contacts clearance process discussions, ringing through my ears, right? And, it just speaks to the fact that if these processes are not operating at the service level that is required for the agency, you're going to have significant delays. Jamaica Customs Agency is a public-facing entity now. So the CEO at day or night, she more likely has to be on call with the entire team of you, because if anything backs up there, the calls will hit everyone's phone. Is that correct? Yes, yes. Even the students are saying yes. They're probably just anticipating what they're going to be getting into, but it's a very responsible portfolio to support the kind of work happening within the entity. Of course, I heard Dr. Brown mentioning the app, right? And I'm sure he's gone back to his office and he will call me at some point and say, oh, I didn't tell him about the app, right? He probably has some things he needs to take from the UK and ship into Jamaica, and he probably wants to use it up. Now, this is a very significant service as well in terms of how the modernization of the entity has been supported. The efficiency argument is significant to using an app. I mean, the generation of students who are here and the future customs officers and leadership are basically born on phones. So therefore, if it is not a case that you don't have an app, what purpose does customs serve? But because of this kind of adoption, the entire youth within our country can relate at scale as to what you're doing. Right? Now, I know I have said several times in meetings at governance the application and use of AI. But, sometimes in hindsight, you think that things need to be adopted, but I would always say that the agency moves ahead of the meetings. In other words, people are planning so quickly in the entity, and the speed of thought is like the speed of light in Jamaica Customs Agency. I dare say you are leading in terms of public entities as it relates to this efficiency and modernization of the public service. Okay? Give them a round of applause. Yes. Without fear or favor, I can say that. And against the background of that, one of the things I've been seeing is that you're doing a lot more with the data. You're automating a lot more to track and monitor risk. There's heavy integration of artificial intelligence into the basic services, including inspection, tracking the risk levels. I know you have a dashboard that we were looking at some months ago in one meeting. I'm trying to remember the name of the dashboard right now, but the dashboard was significant in actually tracking the goods that are actually passing through the port, and it gives a real-time assessment of the same. I will argue, however, that the trajectory that the Jamaica Customs Agency has to be on is to start endorsing even more artificial intelligence into its business processes. That is to say that it is to augment the human agents and officers of the entity, not to replace anyone. It is to augment it so that the complex tasks that need to be resolved, right, can be simplified, because there's so many in Jamaica Customs that need to be resolved, right? We could leave here for the next 10 years, and for the next 10 or 15 years beyond that, there's always new nuance of issues that need to be resolved. So AI is crucial to that particular position to build the efficiency. Data collection analysis is also key in the operation of the entity. The quality of the data that you collect will infer or actually allow you to make the kind of conclusions about what exactly is happening real time. So if you collect data which is not what? Clean, there are lots of errors or duplications, then it will not support the customs agency's mission of providing seamless services to its stakeholders. As a matter of fact, you could lose revenue if you have bad data or poor data available in such systems. So it is important to treat with the data carefully, because I can argue for a moment that if you have data about smuggling routes, okay, that will allow you to make certain inferences about where the contrabands could be coming from and where they could be going. And then law enforcement, right, which will be a part of the agency's remit, to get our local police to work with the teams at the agency to minimize the level of crime coming in and out of our local ports. So the data is crucial. And based on that data, we can use it to support predictive analytics at scale. We can use it in such a way that we are seeing that the data that you have can also help to minimize the security threats that could be facing the entity, such that the cybersecurity department within the agency will need to work significantly with the use of the algorithms on the artificial intelligence to thrust the business forward. I'm going to argue that you may have to create an AI unit which can start modeling, creating your own models to support what is required at scale. And we are having these conversations this week locally with other entities who are thinking about that in light of the DeepSeek that you hear them talking about recently, and the open AI projects, JCA has to start looking at its own applications of the same. So you do a lot of data-driven decision-making, particularly to track the levels of risk of what is coming in and out of ports. Okay? That is very admirable. When I sit in the governance meetings, I smile to myself frequently that, the entity is not operating blind. It is operating with significant information at its disposal to support how you inform the operations, business, and business outcomes in the years ahead. As a matter of fact, it's crucial to your strategic outcomes. Your use of non-intrusive inspection technologies, I think I heard that mentioned as well this morning, right? You actually support the use of such technologies in a significant way to track the contraband coming in and out of ports. And all of this represents a useful data point, right, to support how you actually know what is coming in and out. So many of those things you hear on radio in terms of the seizures and so on is by virtue of collecting the data, and you are able to analyze that data real time coming from these kind of scenarios. So this is not a normal business operation. I mean, Jamaica Customs Agency, by design, is really, I was going to say a technology company, at one point in time. It's like a technology company. It's completely transformed in terms of what you do. While you provide legitimate trade services to and through the port, you could also be providing technology services to the wider Jamaican public based on the heavy adoption. And hence, drones by adoption for the support of aerial surveillance in and out of ports is another significant area. The recommendations I have is that you should now have an IoT lab. So you have an AI lab, an IoT lab that drives this continued assessment and testing and evaluation at scale, right? Because you're already doing these things. You're doing it. And did you know that Jamaica Customs Agency is a model agency in this region? You have other agencies who come to Jamaica just to see this adoption, which is significant. And hence, it's the proverbial classroom. It's the ultimate industry classroom, for, professors like myself. Ultimately, we'll always have to remain a student when you see these new technologies adopted at scale, because there's always something to learn. I put it to you, though, as one of the call to actions, is that heavier use of robotics should come next. Well, that is the argument after generative AI, So, as you move over the next 5 to 10 years, a heavier deployment of robotics will be a part of the whole operation, within your business. Now, that's where the future is. Where the future is now, we're not talking about down the road. It's already started, which means that there's a whole change management required in entity to support these things. We have said as well Internet of Things, because you're using the drones, you're using sensors to track what is happening at the different ports. This is significant to allow for you to treat with the transit of goods in and out of those local spaces, and to be very discreet in determining what is coming in and out without significantly having to disturb or draw attention, which is crucial. It underlines the significant technology infrastructure as well that the entity has adopted, because there is a technology infrastructure working group, that looks at these kind of things. So within Customs Agency, within the governance, there's a technology infrastructure subgroup. There's a research group, for example, that is looking at these issues within the broader governance framework, right? And there's a software group. And these three groups have to meet periodically to look at some of these issues that we are speaking about this morning. Now, from the standpoint of security, it's a big deal in Jamaica Customs. There's a whole department for security, by the way. And the digital security operations. And I'm proud to say that I've seen quite a bit of our graduates, Dr. Brown, you're here, who work in these areas. Almost the significance of IT has graduates from here who maintain it, but from all across the country in the other institutions as well, including VTDI, who I've seen here as part of the team. So you're very inclusive in that collaboration piece for sure. You use a very safe framework of standards to provide these services to the larger public. I've paid attention to the fact that the ISO 9001 best practices that you have, flagship the institution with, and now looking at the ISO 27001 as a newer framework under cybersecurity, I think you are at the top of the heap locally here in Jamaica in terms of what represents the model institution for strengthening the security on the supply chain. The collaboration, of course, is very crucial, because one of the weakest links in security of any environment is the human element, We are the weakest link in this whole chain. And by virtue of that, I say that to say, you have to collaborate with all the stakeholders that you are working with, including the institutions like ours, to drive new project initiatives to treat with the security problems that you could have. A new ransomware comes out, you probably need to test and evaluate what is going on with it. You have some new AI agent attack, which is likely to become more proliferate in the next year or two. You need to be able to actually understand with your partners how you treat with these particular concerns and to track this accordingly. Security is significant from the point of counterterrorism. While the conversations internally at customs, including the ICT meetings, don't really jump into the counterterrorism components of the discussion, it's a very significant part of the agency's apparatus and how it treats with when it has to, find weapons and explosives or any chemical precursors that you may have, that you have to, very discreetly treat with. It doesn't become a public conversation. So that may not even reach any press anywhere. But the idea is to safeguard the nation's borders. This is treated with an extreme high priority. So security is very big on the agenda. The agency, from the component of security, pays very close attention to crisis preparedness from the standpoint of disasters. I mean, when Beryl was coming, I know meetings would have been had as to how you treat with that. We understand that Trump is sending persons home to different countries. You have to go into a crisis mode for that, right? These are facts. I'm not making that up. This is well publicized, right, as a function of the conversation. So our agency, I just saw in the newspaper this morning that quite a few deportees are already here. Before I got here, I was taking a quick review of the newspaper. So you are prepared at every level from what I'm seeing, but I'm not saying that the customs agency, is 100% every time, because we are fallible as human beings. So the idea is that, it's a continuous improvement process in terms of that preparedness provision, and the agency does this particularly well. You also spend significant time doing contingency planning, and the apparatus of contingency planning, how you treat with it. So whenever we have meetings and we see issues of national priorities that might impact the need for contingency, it is recommended, but I'm sure many times the entity and the staff are way ahead of even those who serve at your disposal on the respective boards. As I say, you can't afford to be out at any time. Can't have power outage. These are opportunities for the malevolent to move through the system and do all kinds of things. So you have to have every kind of contingency and backup operation in play. Now, for SMEs, let's talk about SMEs for a moment. It's a very important and very, very vital conversation to say that the empowerment of the small and medium-sized enterprises in Jamaica cannot thrive without customs providing that gateway of the resources that they need to push their businesses, right? From engineering firms to any other kind of businesses that have to take in large capital inventory, right? Or manufacturing firms that have to take in inventory. You have to facilitate that at all times to support the outcomes of this country. So you have been doing an excellent job. Give them a round of applause for that. It's an excellent job. So this comes under the prosperity agenda, and I'm not trying to borrow words from the Prime Minister, all right? Just to be very clear here, right? I'm just speaking in the context of what it really means, right? In this particular lecture discussion. But I will say that by extent, the procedures, the custom procedures, because of the inherent adoption of technology and innovation at scale, I think it's quite the fitting point to note that SMEs' business practices are significantly enabled. I don't hear on the news anymore about SMEs complaining about any hampering conversations. because they can't get goods, they can't get things in and out. That is not really a conversation I'm hearing. So it therefore means that the entity is doing a very good job in terms of how it deals with the efficiency processes to support the outcomes of the SMEs. And of course, if the SMEs are doing good business, what do you think that means for the country? It means that we have significant revenue. So Jamaica Customs Agency is a billion-dollar business. Well, not a single billion, multiple billions, right? Right? I don't want to call the number of billions, right? But it's a multi-billion-dollar business, right? And I'm sure when I hear the Prime Minister talk, I think we were at a forum once, Commissioner, and he takes pride in talking about how Customs Agency really is on top of their game. Of course, Andre, I wonder if you sleep sometimes, so. Right, and the entire team. So it is very important to realize that because you have done such a significant work with the infrastructure, the prosperity agenda by supporting more entrepreneurs than less, including new companies who want to get into business, is significant because the barriers there are actually almost non-existent from what we are seeing. I will also argue, because of the significance in trade facilitation, you are having at scale, in my view right now, a lot of export options. So between export and imports, we are seeing a lot more facilitation. By virtue of that, it means the country can get a lot more foreign direct investments, right? As I think I heard Dr. Brown mentioning that at some point earlier. So if the SMEs are doing well, right, so if they're doing very well, it therefore means that the country is doing well for micro businesses. It means the government is doing well in terms of its own collection, right? And it means overall the future will continue to look bright if Customs Agency is always shining. But of course, you are mindful of all the risk, but you have been doing the job fairly well to support sustainable trade. Now, a lot more eco-friendly goods are coming through the ports too, right? A lot more eco-friendly goods are coming through the ports, and that's a part of the handle and conversation that you're having. I order stuff online all the while. Sometimes I pick it up. Well, now that, there's a whole tiff in the geopolitics of US and China, how goods come into country will be such that I don't think it will ever affect how customs work, but what it demonstrates to me that there's a lot more persons who I know personally who are buying eco-friendly items through e-commerce provisions and shipping them to country from different parts of the world, and there's no issues. There are no issues. So I find that this is extremely good, and hence, how is Jamaica Customs Agency going to, continue this navigate in this space where the technology is changing, the need to innovate is there? How are you going to keep navigating? I will argue that public-private partnerships are crucial. They need to continue to be crucial. I know for argument, for truth, that Jamaica Customs Agency comes to UTEC, they go to our Technology Innovation Center, look at teams of persons working on projects there, carry them down to the Customs Agency, right, and simulate augmented and virtual reality projects real time. Right? So that is really happening. So the partnerships are happening at scale, and this sort of exemplifies the fact that the nature of how you run your business now is not a case that you're standing up at port and just allowing people to enter and leave. That doesn't work anymore. You are deliberately engaging. And I think as we go through 2025, this is the conversation that we need to have. You're also heavily invested in international cooperation. And while that is significant, there's significant local cooperation, there's significant international cooperation, and treaties that you're assigned to support the outcomes of the entity. So in short, if I was to say, where is the agency heading? I'm saying that it is at a place where you can only do continuous improvement because the efficiency is happening. The modernization supported by security is happening. The modernization in terms of ease of trade, legitimate trade, it is happening. You are leveraging the technology very well and not just using smart tools, but you have consistent conversation around what the innovation should be and what it should mean. It does not simply mean that you're going to put in a new technology because it's nice to have. Right? There is a careful selection process. It's not nice to have technologies that you want. You want technologies that actually solve a real problem that gives a value added to your stakeholder. Right? And hence, I know one of the things that will be coming in 2025 is for you to start designing your own AI models, proprietary, inside the agency to solve some of the problems in the different departments and units that are there. Let me hear higher level. Higher level, that's right. You're going to sing now? We're going to sing now. Right? So collaboration is king. That's another important point. As stakeholders, I'm in the university, but I serve on your board. There are many more persons like ourselves who do this. You also serve at the interest of the university as well from time to time on our academic boards to ensure that we are providing relevant skills that are transferable back to you at Jamaica Customs Agency. So I think in a timely way, I think the only place that the entity will be going is to new levels of engagement, new levels of collaboration, and it is more, I would say now, a call to action that let's move the collaboration, the innovation, and the partnership to which level? I thank you so much this morning for your time. I have now home to any questions from you in this short lecture discussion. Usually you put a song behind the higher. You have it from the last time, so I have to play it. Yes, yes, sir. Oh, you want to borrow my mic? Oh, persons need to stand. No, man, you're a good student. You can sit.
All right, thank you for that. First, I just want to commend you for a very excellent presentation. And basically, you covered end-to-end the evolution of the Customs Department.
Yes.
From a very far time back to where it's at now. Yes. And congrats to Commissioner, first of all, for
let's give him a round of applause. Yes, man, you have to clap on that, man. You can't waste that opportunity. Yes.
The entire customs team, but significantly, the team in customs that is responsible for data, information, and the transformation. And you mentioned about the use of data and how data is now becoming the new oil, yes, or the new currency. And that is indeed so. That being said, you mentioned artificial intelligence. Almost in passing, it's extremely important. But yes, a lot of people is seeing artificial intelligence as a threat, while some see it as an extreme advantage.
Yes.
Now, for the Customs Department being significantly data-driven now,
yes,
look across the entire spectrum of the Customs Department. What I'd like to ask, is there anything afoot right now to even dive deeper into the implementation of AI in some of the customs systems, which I think now is absolutely ready to take the next step into AI?
Higher level, yes. As a whole, Excellent question. And the simple answer to it, and why I did not put this lecture to be an AI lecture, right? Because we could go into the deep dive of machine learning and deep learning. What I see presently is the need, and I've said it at the governance meetings already, that we have to do two things. So the agency has data protection, it has ISO governance, and now it needs AI governance to support the outcome. So I know the strategy sessions are coming, the simulation sessions are coming, where each of the departments, I think there are about 8 or 9 departments inside the entity, from HR, or 10, right? That literally can have so much data that the kind of reports you need. Let me take HR, for example. You want to talk about talent management or talent acquisition or workload planning at scale for the next 5 years. It's best we train that through the AI, right? We need to train it, which means that you have the data already, that is telling you what the retirement rates are inside the entity, what your workforce is looking like today, and then we can use the AI to do the kind of projections or the predictions about where in 2030 or 2035 you should be actually putting the kind of workforce. So the institution is now poised to take on this. And I think the panel discussion may elucidate on some of these concerns, like what you have just raised, to hear from the team internally, some of the thought processes that are tied to moving this to the next level. All right. Any more questions?
There are 2 stands placed at either aisle.
All right.
So
yes.
If you have a question, we implore you just to walk to the stand so that, do remember that we're catering to our online participants as well.
Sure.
Thank you.
Oh, someone, okay.
Yeah, she has that one. You can use that one. Or...
Can I just stand here? Okay.
I think he wants to catch you on camera. He just don't want to tell you that.
Once more, it's a pleasure to be here at such an informative lecture series. As the future generation of workers that is going to go into the workforce, I heard your mention of artificial intelligence, and
yes.
As the gentleman mentioned, it is a threat to some, right? Some view it as a threat. I want to know, how is it that the Jamaica Customs Agency actually protects the human capital workforce with this introduction? I'm not sure if that's probably an internal question, or you would be able to answer that.
Well, if I take a general academic standpoint
Sure.
of a response, right? All right. The whole issue of what is called the bad actor inside of an entity is not something that is going away anytime soon. So let me just say that. But I say that to say that if you're hiring persons to work in your team, you need to do the necessary background checks to see who you're hiring. Because once you're going to start using AI to model things, you could run one AI program that actually could shut down the entire organization. Or it could be more subtle. It could be stealing data. It could be, transferring monies to various accounts. If you're quite familiar with these open source tools like Gemini and so on, you can put it in my email and tell it to analyze all the conversations I had over the last 3 weeks and the different reports that I have. Those are models that are now being created. So I think, to be fair to the argument here, it's a whole conversation that needs to be had, because you have to think about where you're getting AI from if you're buying software outside to integrate it within the organization and the security threat that it may have. You have to do a risk analysis of the software before you put it in. Or if you're doing internal development of that AI product, equally all the checks and balances will have to be done. In computing terms, we refer to building what is called sandbox environments. And we do a lot of testing, significantly. So, Andre and the entire team in IT would not put anything in production that would harm the company's projects and provisions. It would have to test it rigorously, because if it fails, the team has to answer not only to the CEO, but probably to the largest stakeholder of the country. So this is where we're going now. But the AI is not going away, because it makes our life a little bit easier to solve the more complex tasks that we didn't know how to solve before. But the two-edged sword is how you make sure that you protect against security. A lot of testing, a lot of evaluation, and the recommendation of setting up special labs like an AI laboratory inside customs agency to test these things at scale will be one of the new thrusts. Hope I answered that question, General, without getting into the internal business. But CEO?
I'm sorry, Professor Thorpe. Thank you so much. I know we can do the cha-cha-cha. But I wanted to respond on another side of your question, because you spoke about human capital and I'm going to put it in quotes, threat to artificial intelligence. And I will say to my senior director, human resource management and development, that to invite our persons here to the upcoming human resource conference, because that's one of the areas that we'll be discussing as it relates to how do we leverage artificial intelligence with human intelligence. Now, for us at Customs, we're not trying to make anyone's job be obsolete. But sometimes times has changed, system changed, and as you try to get greater efficiency, you have to come to a certain reality. So what we do is build on the capacity so that our team members are students of the data, understand the information. There was a time when I used to tell person, I am not an IT person. Now I am. Because you have to get with it, right? And you have to, yes, you have to get with it. You have to get with it. And so understand the great opportunity that AI allows. See it as an opportunity, not as a threat. And if you see it as an opportunity, then you will delve deeper in it to ensure that your systems, that you are so, the capacity you have is there to be of value to the entity to which you want to be a part of. Because we need persons who are open, who want to add value, not just going through the rudiments of a task. What value are you adding? And so you have to learn to use the artificial intelligence to get you there. All right? So we got you. That's
well done, Professor. Not Professor yet. All right. But you're speak it into me. Speak it into me. Speak it into me. All right. All right. So I think that's it for me at this point.
Thank you very much, Professor Sean Thorpe. And with that, thank you so much. Give him another round of applause for really taking us through. And I must say, too, that AI can never, ever replace the human element, right? AI augments what it is that we do, but it must never, ever replace the human element. It can never replace the human element. All right, and so we can rest assured that there'll always be a place for you, Miss NCU. All right, worse if this worse like you're not going to sing for it today, there's a place for you already. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will be, has anybody, do I have a winner for the answer? Come, Miss NCU, what's the answer to the question? Madam Commissioner, you can't leave it, you have to hand it to her for me, please. How many years? 148. All right. I'll give it to the person who went the closest, right? What say you, Mr. CMU? 158. What say you, Brittany? 157. Oh, I think 158 and 157 or 158. This Miss Howe tell anything? All right, so I have 157, 158, and 148. Any more? Or so the one that went closest. Matthew, who is it? So 1868 to 2025 is how many years? No, 157. Is it a 157 or 158? It's 157. 68 to 25, 8 and 7, 150. So 157 years. So Miss CMU is the winner. Please come, Miss CMU. Selena Clark-Graham, Deputy Commissioner and CEO, please present this prize to Madame CMU. She has won for herself a beautiful, look at it, customs mug. Nice to see. And she's always eating and drinking, you know, so perfect prize. Brittany. Do the stage, yes. Use the stage. I have another question. Professor Thorpe, from his presentation, he said we needed an AI lab, and he also mentioned another lab. It's an acronym, 3 letters. Anybody heard? Anybody remembers? Oh, I see. Oh, all right, I see Miss Samuel. Please come, boy. Samuel, people, them bright door. Come, them make you take an NCU. Look at them now. Try, and you make the what? What's it? Internet of Things. Is that what IoT stands for? Yes. All right, come. Professor Thorpe, please come and make the presentation. Please come and make the presentation. And yes, you are brilliant indeed. And she has one for herself, a nice tumbler. You see it, colorful? Come, Professor Thorpe. Oh, you see you. And the last one I'll say for later. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we are at a brief intermission. I'm going to give you 10 minutes. You may refresh yourselves, because during that time we'll be showing some customs videos. If it is that you need to refresh yourselves, you may use it. Refresh yourselves in any way you see fit. When we come back, the stage will be set for the panel discussion, the final leg of this lecture series and dialogue. So ladies and gentlemen, please, it's your turn. NCU will be opening that segment with a song for us when we come back, you know, to bring us into the mood. All right, NCU, thank you so much. So we come back. It's now, what is my time saying? Am I watching that thing right? What time? It's now 12:35, so we return at 12:45. All right, thank you so much. All right. I was singing.
(2013) for the Jamaica Customs Agency was a year of transformation and facing new challenges. Let's take a moment to recap the last 10 years.
It was a year like no other. On March 28, 2013, the Jamaica Customs Department was designated the status of an executive agency with an effective date of April 2, 2013. The agency undertook a journey towards the modernization of the entire organization. Embarking on the journey, a technical, operational, and human resource transformation was deemed necessary, and having the right tools in place was essential. This transformation has paved the way towards an increased and improved online presence, paperless solutions, and a revamped legislative framework. We live by the premise, keeping our customers in focus. Our employees are provided with ongoing trainings and are continuously upskilled and reskilled. Our human resource management and development programs are crafted to intentionally empower and develop the capacity of the staff to maintain a cadre of employees that can respond to the demand of a world-class customs agency. Achieving excellent customer satisfaction is a primary focus of the agency as we continue to build a culture of trust and understanding through our international quality assurance standards, demonstrating that customs cares. Today, nearly every aspect of our operation is being digitized and automated, underpinned by a robust state-of-the-art technological landscape. Our advancements on this front also saw the JCA being a core site in the GovNet project, interconnecting various government digital infrastructures. As a part of the evolution, we acquired and implemented the Automated System for Customs Data, ASICUDA. Modern capabilities allowed for integration, risk management, compliance, and transparency. Resulting in efficient, effective, and significantly reduced clearance time and cost. Stemming from the success of the ASICUDA project, the Jamaica Single Window for Trade, JSWIFT, was born. JSWIFT serves as an electronic platform which allows traders involved in cross-border trade to submit transactional information through a single web-based access point. This electronic platform is a collaboration administered by various cross-border regulatory agencies and participating government agencies. Our transition to a modern, world-class customs administration necessitated the provisioning of online services to be made available, enabling 24-hour operations. The technological revolution within the agency over this past decade has also impacted how we safeguard our borders. The revolution resulted in the advancement of the Border Protection Division, which continues to build our risk management, intelligence, and investigative capacities while employing new technologies to better detect, deter, and interdict persons involved in transnational criminality. With over 1,300 employees, the Jamaica Customs Agency is growing to be one of the largest law enforcement agencies, with its main goal of keeping us safe while facilitating trade and generating revenue for national development. We know that this could not be done in isolation, but rather required the cooperation of all border regulatory agencies. We continue to connect and collaborate with innovators across various industries while building strategic partnerships.
Look into the future. In the face of new challenges and possible threats, we embrace cutting-edge technological solutions and innovative approaches to sustain the evolution of the agency, continuing from a modern, world-class customs administration into a world-leading customs. We continue to prove our resilience by always placing country above self.
We are engaging, innovative, and progressive. For us, it's not business as usual. We are the Human Resource Management and Development Division, HRMD. Come with us as we introduce you to some of our cutting-edge programs aimed at revolutionizing HR within the Jamaica Customs Agency. I am Tamara Archer-Reed, Senior Director, HRMD. Our intent in the Human Resource Division is to transform lives through the development of new programs while offering new and improved services as we connect with Team Customs. These, coupled with a healthy buffet of benefits, have allowed us to build a culture of trust and care. Yes, Customs cares. Come with Sean as he takes you on an employee well-being journey.
The Employee Relations section has implemented various initiatives that are geared towards improving the quality of the employee experience within the JCA. We have been focused on employee well-being management, and in order to realize that, we have bolstered our Employee Assistance Program, the EAP, which provides employees with 4 counseling sessions that the agency pays for, and that is extended to your immediate family members. We have noticed since the pandemic that more persons are accessing this service, and we continue to encourage persons to take it up. Our peer support network, PSN, is an extension of the Employee Assistance Program. In this program, we have identified 30 employees in the agency whose capacity we have been building in order for them to be better able to provide support in an immediate way at the unit levels and to guide employees to accessing the services that are required, professional or otherwise, in order to respond and treat with their various challenges that they encounter on a daily basis. And on World Mental Health Day, we will be introducing these persons to the JCA. Our rewards and recognition program has been formalized, and we now have a system in place where there is transparency and efficiency in how we identify employees who are performing at commendable levels in over 10 categories. And annually, on International Customs Day, we celebrate with them. We celebrate with you, Team Customs, for the outstanding work that you do in this agency.
To preserve this atmosphere, we have implemented programs such as HR Empowerment, HR on the Move, HR Buzz Magazine, just to name a few. Let's explore some moves with Arlene.
Our vision for health and safety within the agency is one in which every employee knows and owns their responsibility in creating and maintaining the highest degree of physical, mental, social, and spiritual well-being. This, of course, is supported by leadership, employee engagement, risk mitigation, and capacity development. Some of the programs that we have successfully implemented include our physical activity program, #CustomsMoves, and we have also dedicated an entire month focused on employee health and well-being, our month of wellness. We have also implemented a number of new training programs geared towards bolstering our employees' capacity to work safely. 2 of these programs include our vessel boarding and sea safety, and also our incident response and crisis management training courses. On the horizon, we have our medical monitoring program, as well as our environmental management program, geared towards ensuring that as an agency, we manage our impact on the environment.
Our transparent recruitment and selection process afforded us the opportunity to handpick you, Jamaica's finest. We ensure that our talents are upskilled and reskilled. We continuously monitor and evaluate performance for collective organizational success. Before you retire, stop by and say hi to Andrea.
In assisting the staff to transition via retirement, the unit provides various programs and sessions geared at financial management and also investment management. And this is offered through one of our programs called the Value of Your Gratuity. We also recognize that mental readiness is really important to this whole retirement process. And so the unit provides a program which is called the Psyche of Your Retirement. Additionally, the unit also plans retirement sessions, and these are one-on-one programs where we invite external stakeholders, and these are ministries, agencies, private organizations that has programs that are geared towards persons either near retirement, persons at retirement. We recognize, most importantly, that we need to have that conversation with the staff who is nearing retirement. And so we offer that safe space where that staff is able to discuss any worries that they may be having, any concerns, any fears. It also gives us the opportunity to discuss with that staff specifically about them in terms of retirement. So these are some of the initiatives and programs that the unit has been using over the time to engage with our staff in positioning them to manage financially, emotionally, and psychologically at retirement.
Team HRMD, we engage, enhance productivity, and facilitate growth.
Traveling to Jamaica with unaccompanied shipment? The Jamaica Customs Agency is encouraging all air passengers with unaccompanied shipments who have a taxpayer registration number, TRN, to present it to Customs upon arrival. This will subsequently facilitate faster processing when clearing your unaccompanied shipments. The Jamaica Customs Agency will continue to implement measures to improve our service delivery and your service experience. You may contact us at 876-922-5140-8 or email public.relations@jca.gov.jm on this and other customs-related matters. Jamaica Customs, keeping our customers in focus.
Traveling to Jamaica? Submit your customs and immigration declaration online for faster processing. Visit the enterjamaica.com portal, complete and submit your declaration prior to departure. Upon arrival, proceed to the immigration kiosk and swipe your passport to confirm your trip details and declaration. Once done, proceed to the customs hall to retrieve your luggage and final clearance. The online C5, making air travel easier. You may contact us or the Passport Immigration and Citizenship Agency for more information.
It is my distinct pleasure once again to welcome you all to the Jamaica Customs Agency's lecture series and dialogue under the theme Unearthing Innovation, Charting the Course for Jamaica Customs in a Dynamic World. In an era defined by rapid technological advancements, shifting global trade dynamics, and evolving compliance standards, innovation is not just a buzzword, but it is a necessity. As we navigate this dynamic landscape, the role of customs agencies worldwide has transformed beyond border control to becoming facilitators of trade, enablers of innovation, and key contributors to national development. Today's session promises thought-provoking discussions and valuable insights from some of the brightest minds in the field. Our aim is to explore new ideas, embrace cutting-edge technologies, and redefine operational excellence for Jamaica Customs to meet the challenges of a rapidly changing world. I am honored yet again to serve as your moderator and guide throughout this impactful series. We encourage your engagement, your questions, and active participation, as collective insights will undoubtedly propel us towards innovative solutions and stronger collaborations. As such, without further ado, I am delighted to introduce to you our panelists. To my left, panelist number one, we have Mr. Andre Williams. He is the Chief Information Officer at the Jamaica Customs Agency. Please give him a round of applause. Our second panelist is Mr. Kingsley Henry. He is the Senior Director for Non-Intrusive Inspection and Security Management Branch at the Jamaica Customs Agency. Our third panelist is Ms. Janice Baker. She is the Director for Marine Wharves at the Jamaica Customs Agency. We have an online panelist in the person of Ms. Tina Brown, who is the Director of International Trade in the International Industry and Liaison Unit at the Jamaica Customs Agency. We have with us our fifth panelist, Professor Sean Thorpe, Dean of the Faculty of Engineering and Computing here at the University of Technology. And rounding out our panelists is a stakeholder and who will contribute to the discussion, Mr. Donovan Wignall, Chief Executive Officer of International Logistics and Parcel Post Courier Service. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you, and we're going to be delving deeper into the challenges and opportunities facing Jamaica Customs and explore how innovation, collaboration, and technology can shape its future. As such, I'd like to start with our first question, directed, of course, to all the panelists. And so, panelists, the keynote speaker, Professor Sean Thorpe, highlighted the Jamaica Customs Agency's commitment to modernization. Can you now, in just between 15 and 20 seconds, each of you elaborate on the specific strategic priorities from the past, current, and future that the JCA will be embarking on in achieving this vision, particularly in light of the 2025 ICD theme? Starting with you, Mr. Andre Williams.
Thank you very much. Right, so 15 seconds. All right, so the challenge, of course, would have been efficiency, throughput. We would have had a lot of semi-automated processes. We use a lot of paper, and it's very different from what we're seeing now. So digitization really has helped us in regards to increasing our efficiency. In our outlook for the future, of course, partnership and continued collaboration, as mentioned in the presentation made by Professor Thorpe, is one of the means of improving on our services. We have been doing that. There's greater scope in terms of partnership regionally and internationally, and to, of course, look on the deeper use of emerging technology.
Thank you very much. Mr. Williams, over to you, Mr. Henry.
So 15 seconds is an impossible task. So I represent substantively the Border Protection Division, and our strategic thrust is really looking at leveraging risk management and technology to improve border protection. So that includes improving and leveraging modern non-intrusive inspection technology, introduction of a K9 program at JCA, the introduction of drone technology, the introduction of improved targeting systems. And so that is where our headspace is. How can we leverage risk and technology to improve our border and to facilitate trade?
Very good. The technocrats are coming out and doing very well. Let us hear from the lone lass among the lads.
So for the operations division, for which I represent, the thrust has been improving our processing times, being able to serve our clientele in a more, what we say, a speedier manner, being able to have them reach us where you have issues and so on, we are there. You can access us, and the technology, leveraging the technology as well as the border-related aspects of the agency, the risk management and so on, to bolster our operations to serve our clientele in a more efficient manner.
Well said. Over to the other lass, Lady Tina. Lady Tina Brown, who is joining us online.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here.
Good afternoon to you too, Lady Tina.
We've heard about technology, and indeed, we have been leveraging technology progressively throughout the years. I've been here for over 20 years, and I can say the advances have been immense. But one thing that I'd like to, because 15 seconds, as Kingsley said, is not enough, but one thing that I'd like to really highlight is our ISO 9001 2015 certification, quality management systems. And even though I don't work directly in the ISO unit, I can say that this certification really, I believe, cements and shows our dedication to commitment in modernizing continuously our organization, our processes, and of course our commitment to ensuring that our customers, our stakeholders, are being served in the best way possible, and that we are really on the way to becoming that modern, world-class customs in the 21st century that we're aiming to be. So that's one thing that I'd really like to bring to the fore.
Thank you very much, Lady Tina, and I must tell you, you are my favorite panelist. Yes, because you spoke on ISO 9001 2015 certification, and that is a remarkable achievement. After all, it is the Jamaica Customs Agency, the first customs administration in this English-speaking Caribbean to be so certified. So big up customs for that. Big up, Lady Tina, yes. We move now, of course. Professor Thorpe, we're jumping over you because you were the presenter. So, no, nobody take up the mic, Professor Thorpe, please. We go to Mr. Wignall, the CEO. Mr. Wignall, your turn.
Check. All right, so full disclosure, I come right across the spectrum from the very early days of the Customs Department.
Oh, yes, indeed.
To where we are now. So I have a full view of where we are coming from to where we are now, and have a fairly good idea of where the Customs Department is going. So my impression of the journey or the evolution from Jump Street to here now, coming from all the paper-based system, paper-based collection, paper-based everything, manual checking, etc., to where we are now. I'm going to give away my age and say from Space 1999 to Star Trek. I don't know. Right, so some of our younger folks wouldn't understand. But we're at Beam Me Up Scotty stage now, where we speak to the computers and they do what we ask them to do. And I think pretty much, Andre, if we're not there, we're pretty near there right now with artificial intelligence. But looking at customs in the middle of a spoke, I'm a cyclist, so let's give you a bicycle analogy. Customs is in the middle, and then you have the wheel around the spokes coming out. And customs basically, what I'm seeing, is the catalyst for the evolution of the other government departments who actually are far behind, some of them actually in the dark ages. And while the journey is not complete, it constantly changes. I think the Customs Department has come an extremely far way. There are some little tweaks here and there that probably will need to be addressed. But I think for the most part, we have to laud the Customs Department and its administration, the technical team, of course, looking at what they did with ASICODA, J-SWIFT, and the Jamaica Trade Platform. I think a far way, they've come a far way. And I think as a stakeholder, I think our processes are far more efficient. We are saving a lot of time. We are not using a lot of staff now for some stuff that we used to. So I think all in all, the journey has been good, continues to be good. And, just want to say big up to the team for very excellent work so far.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Wignall. Thank you so much. And so, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us again. We are celebrating World Customs Week. And of course, Customs is making good on its promise. Our theme is Customs delivering on its commitment to efficiency, security, and prosperity. And we are looking today at unearthing innovation, charting the course for Jamaica Customs in a dynamic world. And our esteemed panelists have done well so far in really rehashing what it is that was said in our keynote speaker's presentation. And so now we're going. They will be fielding some questions, and a question that we believe are germane to the agency and germane to all our stakeholders, germane to where we're going, what we're doing now, and what we are seeking to improving. And so at this time, the first question coming up, and this should be led by Mr. Kingston Henry. How is the Jamaica Customs Agency balancing the need for enhanced security with the imperative to facilitate trade efficiency, especially given the increasing volume and complexity of global trade? I'm going to read the question again. How is the JCA balancing the need for enhanced security with the imperative to facilitate trade efficiently, especially given the increasing volume and complexity of global trade?
I think after answering that question, I should become a professor, right? But one of the things that we recognize at Jamaica Customs, and frequently when we speak about our mandates, our 3 core mandates. We talk about trade facilitation, revenue collection, and border protection. And so the challenge for us is always striking the correct balance, right? The fact is that it is impossible for us, for example, to physically inspect every single piece of cargo that is coming in, whether it's in a container or it's one of those small parcels that you buy from Amazon or from Shein or from wherever. It is not possible, right? But we also face the pressure to ensure that those are coming in free of contraband. We face the pressure to ensure that the invoices are correct, that the declarations are correct. And the question is, how do we manage that? And we manage that, as Prof was saying earlier, by harnessing data, right? And pushing that data through our risk management system and ensuring that we are able, at the end of the day, to target the cargo, to target people that are of the highest risk. And once we have done that, once we have decided who is the highest risk, then we further leverage technology, right? Because even though they're high risk, there are things that the eye can't see. So how do we find the things that are hidden deep into the containers, deep into the barrels, hidden into the flour, like we have seen in many instances? All the guns that you see are being detected on the ammunition. How do we find those, right? So we leverage non-intrusive inspection technology. We are now in a process where we are moving away, for example, from old gamma ray, black and white. Think about it like black and white TV, right? So I call it the black and white scanning technology to color TV kind of scanning technology, where you can now see and itemize. I can scan your barrel and tell you that you have sardines and milk and Irish Spring soap and oil and all that is in there, right? And so leveraging those technology allow us to protect our borders, but at the same time allow the trade to flow so that we can participate in the prosperity that Jamaica is seeing and enjoying.
Thank you so wow, that was a good response. Thank you so much. I'd just like to acknowledge the presence of all persons who would have joined us after the introduction. Excelsior Community College is here. Please be acknowledged, Excelsior. And is it more students from the University of Technology who've just joined us? You've been here? Okay. Yeah. A group just came in, right? I'd just like to acknowledge your presence and thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for taking the time out. So, we go to our next question. I think my online panelist, Lady Tina Brown, she would be taking this question. What role does what roles, do international partnerships and collaborations play in supporting the Jamaica Customs Agency's modernization efforts? And how can these be strengthened? I read the question again. What role do international partnerships and collaborations play in supporting the JCA's modernization efforts? And how can these be strengthened?
Okay, thanks. Thanks for repeating, Sean. The truth is that customs is not an island. And we truly are a community, not just with our customs counterparts globally, but also with other border regulatory agencies, other financial institutions. And so we are actively collaborating with a lot of different international partners. And if you've been paying attention to the JCA, you know that we are really deep into collaboration on a local, regional, and international level, simply because it yields results. So it would be really too much for me to go into all of them. So what I can do is to actually narrow it to a few key ones I think that would have helped us to be propelled along the trajectory that we are on now. And let's start with one of the big ones, which would be UNCTAD and ASICUDA, which is our automated system for customs data, more rightfully in Mr. Williams' sphere, but this is one of the key ones in terms of recent modernization efforts that would have helped us to move from our previous case management to our current automated system. And what that's allowed us to do is really bring a lot of the silos that we're operating under into one place, and helped us to not only just offer, it helped us to consolidate our operations, enhance our risk management, cut down processing time, cut down the paper, all of these fabulous things. But at the end of it, and we're still on the journey, mark you, we've been able to improve our ease of doing business. We've built a platform for what is now our single window, our electronic single window, which is JSWIFT, Jamaica Single Window for Trade, for those who may not know. It has helped us to build build capacity, and to be able to meet a lot of the obligations that we have been tasked with under the World Trade Organization Agreement on Trade Facilitation. And we are involved in the business of trade. So you know that we want to facilitate legitimate trade. We want it to be smooth. We want our traders to really be enjoying all of that efficiency and reductions in cost. And so that's one platform that really helped us to move along that trajectory. And noting that it's also a globally recognized system for managing customs data, I will say I'm going to always be giving the JCA a lot of props where I can. And so while this was not a new platform, I can say that we have customized it, we've tweaked it to suit our context. And these tweaks and customizations are things that have also been well received by even our regional counterparts, who have now adopted a lot of what we have really spearheaded. So I'm really, and I believe the rest of the panelists and customs that's there, I think we're all proud of our efforts in that arena. It's also allowed us to integrate better with a number of our other border regulatory agencies, or BRAs, as I may say, going forward. I mentioned our electronic single window for trade, and so you see that partnership, that collaboration that we have with UNCTAD was very, very instrumental in getting us to where we are now. Moving into more of the hardcore trade, the World Trade Organization, of course. They are responsible for regulating and facilitating international trade. So if you're dealing with global rules of trade between the different member countries, and of course Jamaica is a member of the WTO, we're talking about the WTO. And of course, you would have heard us talking about the agreement on trade facilitation. This is actually a flagship agreement of the WTO, and it was so, what would you say now, groundbreaking in a number of ways, because it's actually allowed for us, Jamaica, a developing country, to have provisions built into this agreement to allow us to meet our obligations. So there are special and differential treatments that's built in for developing countries versus, let's say, a developed country who may be a donor helping us along the way to meeting our trade obligations in the international sphere. And what this agreement has really done for us, it plays into Asikudo. We had already begun that journey, but of course it helped to propel it. The single window is also an initiative that is promoted by this agreement, along with a lot of other trade facilitatory measures that helps us as customs to improve and to deliver a better product for our customers. It helps to promote transparency, predictability, reduces costs, all of those lovely things. And then we come to World Customs Organization, who is really the big person for us here. Of course, it is a membership of various customs administrations globally. And one of the key things that is done at the World Customs Organization is that it helps to develop international standards. It helps us to collaborate globally as customs, and of course, it builds capacity among the membership. And useful instruments and tools that we have even probably taken for granted at this point, this is where it had its genesis. We're talking about things like the harmonized system, or what you may know as tariff codes. This is the home. This is where it was developed. And it is something that is used globally through every aspect of trade at this point in time. The revised Kyoto Convention, to which Jamaica just acceded, which is really about simplification and harmonization of customs processes and operations. So you see that the World Customs Organization has been a key collaboration. And I want to drop in a nice big up for our commissioner, just to note that she was the chair for the capacity building committee, which is the second largest committee at the World Customs Organization for 3 years running. And can I tell you, it was 3 of the most exciting years that the membership had seen. And I don't think I am bossy, I'm just speaking factually. And it also allows us to do a lot of networking. At Customs, we have to do that. We share best practices.
All right, Lady Tina, I'm going to ask you to hold some for a little later in the session. I see you are agog with enthusiasm, as you ought to be based on your position. And it's good to see and know that you are really representing us, and that Customs and Jamaica is well represented through your efforts. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We got so much from that. I ought to ask a question. But moving on we have another question. We are also fielding questions from online. As soon as our online participants send in a question, we will also speak to those. This, Mr. Williams, what were the benefits and improvements for stakeholders/clients that the agency sought to deliver through new services, for example, the mobile app, the CCP, the contactless clearance process, and of course, the express courier module, body-worn camera as well, to improve efficiency through the modernization initiatives, right? So what were the benefits and improvements for stakeholders and clients that the agency sought to deliver through these initiatives?
Well, it's in alignment with what Tina just mentioned. Increased efficiency is one of the main objectives. We want to ensure that our services are serving the needs of our clients. And we know that persons who are in business will tell you that there's a cost for doing business when it comes to time. And of course, that is passed on to the ultimate consumer. So what we have found is that improving our services, ensuring that they are running as efficiently as possible, has yielded the desired results in terms of reduction in cost. Using paper as well, persons might not be aware of how much it costs to deal with paper. We've been tracking our savings over the last 10 years, we are in excess of $1 billion in savings on just 6 documents, and we have removed in excess of 20 documents. Right?
Gone fully green, Mr.
Yes.
Williams.
Well, not fully green, but but we are saying
Go
that
JCA, environmentally friendly.
Right, but we are saying that there's a cost for handling paper, to include storing it and retrieving it, which makes the job that much more difficult. Transparency as well. Having digitized services now allows for roles and responsibilities, which includes, of course, not just our stakeholders, but us customs. And of course, we have a responsibility to deliver efficient services, right? And Mr. Stewart is here, will tell you that 90% of the commercial transactions are being processed now within 24 hours or less. 70% of that was in the first 4 business hours. That's a remarkable change from where we're coming. In regards to, of course, the mobile app, again, that is empowering our users, giving them access to more services, more visibility, which holds us accountable for the service that we're delivering. And the ecosystem that we have developed is not just for customs and for the traders, bearing in mind that there are several other border regulatory agencies who are involved in delivering services. So our journey has not been just about customs. We look at the small, medium enterprises to see what their needs are to ensure that they can operate in a very efficient manner, irrespective of the size of their business. And so data exchange became one of the greater needs, which of course was driven by fostering greater collaboration and partnership with the other border regulatory agencies. Of course, we carry out agency functions for over 20 agencies. And of course, building out more rules which allow for greater compliance within our systems. So this is really informing of exactly what is required, and that fosters, as I mentioned, greater compliance, ensuring that we have all that we need, not just customs, but the other agencies who have an interaction with the document, and then, of course, allowing for faster processing. Wearable technology, the body-worn cameras, I think, is one of the a very bold move in regards to ensuring that we have an accurate record of the inspection, and of course that we can foster greater compliance from our stakeholders, while of course keeping our officers safe, right? And of course we are looking into other components as well. We are looking on the express courier module. We know that there's a constant growth in e-commerce, the number of packages that are coming in due to online shopping. And I know I see the heads nodding. I think almost everyone in this room is an online shopper. And you don't ask, you just order, right? You put it in your cart, and you pay, and you want it this evening, right? So again, we have been ensuring that we can run as efficiently as is possible while ensuring the security of the goods that are crossing our borders, right? So that's the outcome, and of course, we always try to reduce the processing time while ensuring that we have a safer environment.
Thank you very much, Mr. Williams. Very good. I see the young people are nodding and, yes, corroborating what he's saying about online shopping. Let me see those who have shopped online. How have you found this service? Good and quick? It depends. She looks like she imported deer here, them, right? The expensive here, right? Right. But you get your things quickly, not true? Right, that's because customs has improved at the borders. All right, thank you so much. We go to a next question. I think Mr. Wignall should take this one. How has the JCA, you have done business with the agency. You mentioned earlier of the length of time you have been interacting and interfacing with the agency and where it has been coming from. So how has the JCA been engaging private sector and other business interests to foster a more collaborative approach to trade facilitation and compliance? I'll read it again. How has the JCA been engaging the private sector and other business interests to foster a more collaborative approach to trade facilitation and compliance?
All right, so I was the president of the Custom Brokers
Ms.
Association
Baker can assist as well.
for 2 different terms, and interacting with the Customs Department for over 25 years, a lot of years. In terms of collaboration, in terms of JCA facilitating, I think you have done the JCA. The JCA has done a pretty good job in collaborating with the private sector. From then up to now, there is the Quality Assurance Committee that pretty much hashes out the pain points that we would have had as stakeholders with the different points of interactions with the Customs Department. I think in general, you probably have been one of the agencies that apparently has a very huge PR budget. So you communicate absolutely well. Whatever it is that you are doing, it is very well communicated. Your interaction with the other border regulating agencies is quite, up to status quo. You communicate very well. I don't know if it's the same from the other side coming to the Customs Department. I've had some challenges with some other places, and I think based on how the Customs Department is structured, the solution came out of Customs. Ministry of Agriculture is one of them. Trade Board is another. But generally, in terms of the communication, I've seen it improving over and over, continually improving. There's not a lot of person-to-person interaction. To be honest with you, it's not absolutely necessary right now. I can mention the J-Swift system. I think Lloyd, where is he? Has been doing, Lloyd and his team has been doing a pretty good job in solving the problems. And I think IMU, the emails evaluation branch, I think one of the most important things in terms of collaborating with the private sector, with stakeholders, is to be able to solve problems as they occur. And the ability, the availability of a ready solution as we meet upon whatever challenges. So the quickest time we solve a problem is the least cost for us. And I think, we have had some challenges. I mean, members of my sector have had challenges with contactless clearance Kingsley, where it's no secret. But truth be told, as far as the communication with that is concerned, I personally, and they might get me for this, they might come for me, but
with support.
Don't have a significant challenge. Clearing a lot of personal effects for me, how we used to go about it, we go down there, spend the entire day clearing a barrel or 2 barrel or whatever. It is a challenge. So engaging the contactless clearance system does help. I can understand the concerns of my sector as it relates to contactless clearance with commercial cargo and the fact that they identify it as a threat. But if you look at the thing holistically, it can be used to our advantage. I've been in the business for a very long time, and to be honest with you, I do not go to the port a lot because it's not absolutely necessary. Right? Cover my clients are AU, and for those who are not, the entries are processed pretty efficiently. I'm going to say this, and some people that work in invoice branch might, not like it, but at the end of the day, I see a day when the entries are going to be checked with artificial intelligence. And we are getting there. And, when I see what is checked, the numbers, the tariff codes, the descriptions, it's all data that is stored on the system already, and nothing that is happening now has never happened before. And the system has a record of everything that has happened. So therefore, what artificial intelligence is utilizing data that was there before, looking at the decisions that were made, and store those decisions and rehash those decisions when the question comes up again. So therefore, looking at the entire Customs Department intelligently, and looking at collaboration with the sector, MSME sector, the custom broking sector, the freight forwarding sector with the custom department. I think it, in a nutshell, the short answer, it has been good and it continues to evolve. A lot of people like the person-to-person interactions, but for me, unless it's not absolutely necessary, I don't want to bother the commissioner unless something where I really think you need to intervene or call Selena or whatever. I write, Miss Walker, Mr. Carter. It's strictly by email and the responses come back quickly and timely enough. So therefore, there is that whole, less interaction and efficient processing, etc. So the short answer to your question, Sean, how are we collaborating? It is actually very good and continues to evolve. And I'm looking to the next Customs 2.0.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, sir. Lady Janice Baker, may I hear your view?
So I'd just like to add to what Mr. Wignall just pointed out. In addition to our AO program, where we have account managers who are assigned to individual companies, and they get top-of-the-class service. So you have your own point person, and they will respond to the queries, try and ensure that that customer's issues are resolved in a timely manner. And I think that is something that a lot of the AO companies are grateful for because they have a direct point of contact. It will also be remiss of me if I did not mention, straight from the CEO's office, her customs business interaction, where she goes into these business places, be it a manufacturer, distributor, and she goes in and she sits and she listens to them, hear the concerns, and she will pick up the phone, call who needs to be called, and to ensure that their issues are addressed. The site inspection as well is a facility that is offered to our customers that allow them to have their goods examined at their business places, and it helps us to reduce the costs that they will incur in relation to demurrage and additional storage and so on the ports. So trade facilitation is big, and in addition to our technological improvements, the soft skills are also involved in ensuring that the customers are satisfied.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Lady Baker. All right. Any input from the audience? Are we good so far? All right. So our next question, what are your thoughts? Mr. Williams, this may be taken by you. We're going to be asking this question. And then I'll be inviting NCU with a short presentation. What are your thoughts on the JCA's digitization efforts, and what further steps can be taken to ensure that these initiatives effectively support businesses? So I'll read the question again. What are your thoughts on the JCA's digitalization efforts, and what further steps can be taken to ensure that these initiatives effectively support businesses?
I think our journey, Mr. Barra, has been a very short but successful one. When we listen to other countries that have been doing similar improvements, it takes them upwards of 15 years, 20 years. And if we look at our path and the rate of success that we have gained over the last 7, 8, 9 years, we have literally transformed how we're operating, not just us, but how the industry interacts with us. In regards to opportunities, there, of course, is always room for improvement, and there are other players within the industry, Mr. Wignall. And I know that while you may have a digital experience here, you may have to produce paper somewhere else to get corresponding services to complete the clearance process. And so what we're looking at are all the opportunities for seamless data exchange, and also to include even the verification of goods entering and leaving the ports. And that, of course, requires more integration with the other players within the industry. Of course, you have the warehouse operators, the port operators. We've already established a very solid integration with the port community system, which is affording a number of services now, appointment and so forth, trucker identification, and there are other opportunities to include Internet of Things, Prof. You spoke about that, where we can have seamless verification of goods and driver and vehicle entering and leaving or ports and other warehouse premises. So all of those are opportunities to exploit that cuts down on the time for verification and allow for seamless movement of goods and providing a better quality of service. The contactless clearance, of course, is one of those game-changing or change in our process. We have been operating in a certain way for decades. We can't improve if we keep doing things the same way, as you rightly just said. And we see that as a pivotal change to ensure that we can operate much more seamlessly, of course, using the data to make informed decisions. And I'll leave it there, Mr. Barrow. Yes.
All right, thank you. Thank you. All right, so we'll be coming back to you, Mr. Williams and Professor Thorpe, with the next question. But before that, I'm going to be inviting our friends from the Northern Caribbean University to come and entertain us. Put your hands together and make them welcome.
Good afternoon again, everyone. All right, we're the NCU makeshift choir for today. But before we do that, I'm going to put my own spin on the idiom, a family that prays together stays together. And I'm sure, thank you. And I am sure the JCA has had moments where they have had to pray, right? Yeah. Get on their knees, pray, so that they can make the impact that they're doing currently, right? So with that, prayer is indeed our quickest and most effective lifeline. And it's our deepest connection that we can have with God. So today, my colleagues and I are going to enhance on that with a song.
Was paralyzed by fear when they heard a mighty multitude was quickly drawing near. But as they prayed for deliverance, the victory would begin. For when we call upon the Lord, we summon all of heaven. Pray on, for this will tear those mighty strongholds down. Stay on your knees, for this is where the battle is won. Very soon you'll win the victory. Pray on. When Daniel faced the lions for worshiping the Lord, it seemed there was no hope at all for what would be in store. But when we stand on holy ground, our smallest prayer is heard. to make a difference. They don't seem to make a change. Just rest assured, God knows your needs, and He hears each time you pray. Your prayers are reaching heaven, and the answer's on the way. Pray on, for you are who the Lord is looking for. Pray on, for this will tear those mighty strongholds down. Stay on your knees, for this is where the battle is won. There's no better place for you to be than seeking the Father prayerfully. Very soon you'll win the victory. Pray on.
That was NCU, yes. High level, not true, yes, highest level. On the spot, and they delivered. But Rahul now, the male singer, Professor Thorpe, you have to arrange what do you call it, something, a transfer for him. But his height don't match up NCU height. His height is a UTEC height. Yeah, he's a UTEC height, yeah, so he needs to get a transfer, okay? All right, thank you so much, NCU. Put your hands together for them. Thank you so much. And so we come to the next segment of our questions. Still no online questions as yet. And so we are going to this one, which would be tackled by Mr. Andre Williams and Professor Sean Thorpe. How can data analytics and AI, artificial intelligence, be leveraged to optimize customs operations, improve risk management, and enhance supply chain visibility? How can data analytics and AI be leveraged to optimize customs operations, improve risk management, and enhance supply chain visibility?
All right, so in regards to risk management, of course, that is driven by data analytics, ensuring that we have insights into the information that is being provided for us. Even before the goods get here, we have the information from the manifest. And in assessing that, that's a first tier in regards to assessing any risks for goods that are destined to our ports. The whole advent of data analytics now allows for us not only to analyze, but also to do some amount of prediction in regards to consistency, look for non-conformities, and to identify those cargo that would be of interest, while also assessing compliance as well. We have been using a number of tools to analyze the data. As mentioned earlier in the lecture, there is an overwhelming amount of information which comes in. There are thousands of packages traversing our respective ports and warehouses on a daily basis. And of course, now that is use of the data analytics has allowed for greater efficiency to identify those consignments, as I mentioned, that are of interest to us. Looking forward, though, we have seen where AI will provide us with a whole lot more, far more than we are capable of determining now. We have been doing some amount of research and development in partnership with another private sector entity using Claude, Quen, Llama, some of those LLMs. And we have been seeing where extracting that commercial data, anonymizing it, and assessing it using structured sources, and even to use our own data to analyze consistency, can aid in providing faster aid our decision-making process to ensure that the information being provided to us is either accurate or it warrants for further review. right? So those are some of the promising opportunities when we look at the whole advent of AI. And of course, analyzing information, both past and present, allows for greater levels of prediction to a more accurate degree to analyze what will be deemed or real threats. So again, Sean, the introduction of, or the use of AI, because AI is here, Prof. And with all the changes in the industry, I suspect that some of these more powerful LLMs will become more cost-effective and can be adopted. Certainly it will be adopted by the agency commissioner in terms of the inclusion of AI in our internal processes, but of course digitizing and fully automating workflows as well. And this, of course, is to empower our officers. And the more we introduce technology as well, it also gives us an opportunity to upskill our officers to use these new tools, right, to provide our services.
Right, so good segue based on what Andre is saying. The research, as you indicate, is very important because, you know, you have so many students here in the university environment. I probably have to recommend that some of them become interns to look at some of these special projects. And why I say that, I think you need to move to a lot more use cases to better understand the analytics. You know, from tariff classification to all the other issues that you are sort of decomposing with the data. The specific approach I would take is that customs should not be using open source tools for modeling and training the data. There's a data privacy leak concern as it relates to that. Just everyone knows, right? The bigger argument would be to start looking at proprietary models that you can create, because if for whatever reason the data is exfiltrated and somebody else picks it up, it's probably sensitive, classified data. So while you have started researching the open source models, just to better understand how to, you know, make the classifications with the data based on the analytics, that's why I was advocating in the presentation for a dedicated AI laboratory inside the customs agency, right? Just like you probably need an IoT laboratory so you can sandbox the operation, because with the new AI policy that is coming, based on the work we just completed in the National AI Task Force, there are going to be some revisions, you know, in the legislation about how you harness and harvest that data, right? So if Mr. Wiggins sits here and says, but hold on, Andre, I don't think I wanted to use AI per se on, you know, the SMEs and specific although you're using it for research, and just to appreciate the point, but you do not want that data to be used, because under the data protection requirement, they have to get your consent. And hence, the advocate to the institution, to JCA, right, is that you have to now set up what is called a sandbox environment, and then, you know, the IT team, part of the team, need to become senior AI prompt engineers. Probably need some interns to do that, and then start training against the different departments. So for HR, for all the other areas, and start training the models. Market, there may be some off-the-shelf products you can get because you have Microsoft, Copilot, and everybody else coming into the space for which you may have a service level agreement to use their system, and they will agree with you on a data protection requirement that they should not exfiltrate the data, otherwise you sue them. The government of Jamaica can sue an entity in that regard. So to avoid that, I think the researchable use cases that need to be built now is just having a team start looking at the proprietary AI models that you can develop in-house, test them, you know. The technology is now there, you know, the NVIDIA chips that just came out, for example, the upgrades would allow you to build out your own internal provision. So I'm a big, I think that's the JC 2.0 that you were speaking to earlier, for which you could adopt researchable use cases and test internally. So you don't have to go to just the vendors to get you a solution. I mean, the vendors may be an option, or you mix the model of using vendors plus your own solutions, especially for the most sensitive data in border. In Border Patrol, for example. So that's my suggestion on that one.
Just one last point from me, Sean, as well. A lot of persons will score internet for information specific and repetitive questions, which is filtered also to our PR department or client service areas. And what we found, as you rightly mentioned, you mentioned Copilot now being embedded, where you can use some of these tools to provide supervised responses from, for example, information that is embedded already in our website that is already publicly available. But rather than picking up a phone to call, to speak to someone, you can interact with that AI to provide supervised responses. So these are a lot, and of course, these will provide consistent information at your fingertips. And we've seen these as some of the new advantages that can be brought. We just launched a new website, and we're doing some testing as well, and hopefully we can include that as well to provide supervised and consistent responses. Again, it affords us to make better use of our human resources in dealing with real issues, which will require human intervention, but at the same time, providing consistent and reliable information right around the clock.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I know we have a question and answer segment later, but should in case you have an intervention or question, we will take that. So,
just a quick one.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Wignall, no problem.
I think looking at the entire custom department, all the different departments that we have to interact with. So invoice branch being the major one, industrial liaison being the next one, valuation branch, a major one. Looking at the data and the resources that the custom department pours into these departments. At the end of the day, I think the previous conversation, Commissioner, was to put the resources at the gate, where the computers will do the checking and all those stuff, and then the rest, the resources, is reallocated to ensure that whatever was done is what is going through the gates. I think the advantage that will be presented by the AI revolution would be such that you would be able to manage your resources in a more effective manner by getting the computer to do some of the more labor-intensive stuff, like the checking of the invoices and the checking of the tariff codes and interacting with your department, interacting with valuation branch, which is totally about history and what has happened before, and cross-referencing it with the tariff, cross-referencing it with the different acts, etc., free codes and all of that. That's totally, it's able to be computerized significantly over a very short piece of period of time, Andre. So your resources definitely could be significantly impacted in going to the areas where it can be utilized in a more effective manner.
So if I could jump in, so based on what Mr. Wignall is saying, you need to start training the models to do all of that. Even if you're to adopt vendor-specific software to do it, the internal team will have to start learning how to develop those training models, classify the data, do the transformations, and ensure that what needs to be seen in the form of reporting is well understood. So I tell you, probably a use case workshop internally, probably to simulate some of those designs, probably can be started because the tools are already there, right? So if you adopt anything Microsoft or any other vendor, probably under a proprietorship license, you could build the models with that. Otherwise, you create your own models to get it going.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Wignall. Thank you so much, Professor Thorpe. Thank you so much, Mr. Williams. We now take another question. And this should be led by Mr. Kingsley Henry, and of course Mr. Williams can support. What are the key skills and competencies that customs officers will need in the future? And how can training and development programs be adapted to prepare them for these evolving roles? Our Senior Director for HR is here as well.
I was going to say, I'm not sure that question is for me, right?
What are the key skills and competencies that customs officers will need in the future? And how can training and development programs be adapted to prepare them for these evolving roles?
So that question has several components, and I believe Prof can help to respond to that question. But I'll just say because part of the question did speak about customs officer, but customs is far more than that. But I'll speak about the frontline part of it and where we kind of need to go, right? Traditionally, we have been about physically opening things and checking things. That is where we have been, physically checking invoices, physically doing evaluation work. And so the discussion this morning into this afternoon has been about leveraging technology to do away with some of those processes. And so the question has been as well, where does that leave our staff who is used to the physical type of work? And I think Commissioner kind of gave part of the response this morning, that all of us now have to become IT and computer people who learn to interact with the systems, right? And so so that is where we have to kind of take it away from the physical for our staff members to know, use the data, use the system to leverage risk management, to leverage targeting, leverage profiling, so that we can only focus on the things that we really need to see. After scanning has done it with the X-ray machines, then really what you come down to is, as Mr. Wignall is saying, at the end of it, doing verification to ensure that the work that is being done by IT, that it's being done correctly, right? So that is where our training and development, I think, has to be focused. But I'll leave it to the IT minds who can tell us where we need to go.
Right, so it really is an upskilling of the resources that we have within the organization. We have seen that over the last few years, we implement a service, and we, of course, will have to train our officers. There are some jobs that have been they are no longer necessary, but the opportunity now is presented for these officers to act in higher capacity with far more impact. So there will be those mundane tasks that can now be automated, but the expertise is what drives these systems. These systems don't get up and just be intelligent on their own.
That's correct.
Right. They're
right. No. So let me jump in on this one now. So you need a senior AI prompt engineer. Mm-hmm. Work with me now, right? That's a new skill set that we have to train to put into that part of the business, right? So I was actually in a meeting with Google up to last week. They got rid of 70% of their engineers, traditional engineers. All across the world, there's been a major cut in terms of the engineers who you normally hire. But who they now need in light of the AI, which they are hiring at almost twice the rate, is who is called the senior AI prompt engineer to do these classifications that we're talking about. Okay. And to use these existing models that are out there. Okay. So this is a major retooling exercise. So even here in the university, students who are doing a bachelor's degree in artificial intelligence, they are being trained to become prompt engineers, right? Where they understand the AI algorithms, they understand how to take the data with very probably little that is provided to it, and how to ask the questions, and further, they cannot take your production data in customs and mess around with it. You have to give them a smaller subset of data to train on it. CEO sits down and says, oh, so that's potentially what we're heading into as it relates to these classifications. Okay, all right, let's start taking a little bit of the production data and put it into test and see what obtains. Right. But that's a major upskilling area. So you need AI prompt engineers, senior AI prompt engineers, junior ones and senior ones at scale in every aspect of the business. And they are not necessarily persons that are techies only. You could actually take HR and actually repurpose staff in HR to become prompt engineers, because this is not requiring you to write computer code necessarily as a part of the skill. It's not a case where, in other words, the AI is already a pre-programmed platform, and all you're doing is using the interface and putting factual data inside here that you already have, and knowing how to feature that data to get the results and the reports that the agency wants in seconds. Right? So this is something that persons really need to know. It's not very well discussed locally, but this is what is happening around the world at pace right now in 2025. The prompt engineers are prompting. So the whole era is now called prompting. Prompting for HR. Prompting for, border protection. So you start prompting the tech to do what you need it to get done.
All right, thank you very much, Professor. Anybody else has anything to add? Okay, so we move to the next question. And this question can be taken from any of the customs present, including our online panelist, Ms. Tina Brown. So how can academia and research institutions contribute to supporting the JCA's modernization efforts and promoting innovation in the customs domain? How can academia and research institutions contribute to supporting the JCA's modernization efforts and promoting innovation in the customs domain? Ms. Baker, Ms. Brown, Mr. Williams, Professor Thorpe?
I think Professor Thorpe just alluded to how they can help. And so the skill sets need to change, and the universities are going to be where we are already taking our employees from the universities, right? A vast majority of the customs employees are holders of first degrees, master's degrees, and so on. So the universities will continue to be relevant in training persons who will come to customs and to be able to integrate and to learn quickly and to have certain amount of competencies. We need people who are analytical, people who can do research, people who are able to go out and represent as well. And in addition to having the academic qualifications, we are also looking for people who are ethical, right? And we are hoping that our universities our universities will assist us in that regard, in ensuring that that is an important message.
I think the university can go one step further. I don't think it's just bringing in the students and having them with that requisite skill. You need an upskilling or reskilling and retooling program inside the agency. I need to clap on that one, right? You need a retooling and reskilling in the agency, because when you hire the graduates to come in, you need to have a good understanding as well of who you're hiring and what they're also still doing, right? So an internal training program really needs to be on the things to do list in 2025, right? That supports that kind of outcome. And of course, we are available to start supporting that type of dialogue. Right?
There is, and I would like us to consider another area as well in terms of the collaboration with academia, and that is in the area of research. When I think about my area of responsibility, for example, non-intrusive inspection, we are in need of AI technology and algorithm that will allow us, for example, to reduce the human element in image analysis, right? And so we are heavily reliant on vendors who are pulling data from places that don't have similar threats that we do, right? And so that is an area as well for the universities to partner with us to do research and development for technology that will suit our local requirements. And I think that's an untapped area. We also have the area, as we talk about radiation and nuclear technology and development and detection in that area. That is something that Custom has been doing for about 15 years. But there again, there's a partnership that can be built out there. I know we work with the International Center for Environmental and Nuclear Sciences at UWI, but there may be an opportunity for other universities to be learning. And as you learn and as you research, you're developing a capacity area that don't exist, because we are heavily reliant now on external partners when it comes to these areas of specialization. So there are so many other areas to customs that academia can partner with us to develop capacity, develop new systems based on our needs within the Jamaican
so
environment.
can you enumerate them? I mean, I get the AI piece clearly, you know, and what can be done to support that. But are there any other specific ones you want to sort of mention, seeing that we're in this space, that you would say, listen, if I had 3 important skills in terms of research that I need right now, it would be 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2. It doesn't have to be 3. Yeah. But I'm talking in terms of priorities. But if the lot is good enough, but you may have 1 or 2, and you say, well, okay, this is like what we need tomorrow. So when we come off this platform, you know, those are the conversations we can start entertaining.
So, Prof, as you rightly mentioned, some of our solutions are in fact coming with AI embedded within it. It's proprietary to the solution. Cybersecurity is one of them. We have been, we are now using a tool that has AI embedded in it.
Oh, yes,
of course,
yes,
our team would have benefited from the capacity building and to protect our assets. Our digital landscape is expanding. The risk assessment, the non-intrusive inspection equipment also comes with software that is driven by AI, but those models also need to be trained. And again, these are areas in terms of room for upskilling the persons, because you have to use that professional experience to guide these models. So it's not that someone can walk off the street and say,
exactly.
Because that expert...
So you have to do an upskilling in-house to understand the model.
Right.
So it's a long game. It's not, it's not a short game.
Right. And those will only get better based on the experience of those officers and this ratio of success that we're having. The same goes with risk management in regards to developing these profiles and evaluating the effectiveness of them as well. And it starts with data analytics, mining through all that information to pick out that needle that is within that haystack as well.
So for example, we are hard-pressed when we consider, as Andre mentioned, risk management, for example, and even skills relating to investigation and intelligence gathering. Now we are hard-pressed to find those skill sets within our tertiary institutions or where the capacity building opportunities exist.
We just start producing them. So therefore, the truth be told about academic institutions, not limited to UTech, but all of us in this ecosystem, is that we don't produce the skill sets fast enough given the pace at which the technology is changing. So in other words, we are sometimes almost 2 years behind in terms of responding to the market requirement and to where the market is going. But with that being said, for example, next week, Thursday, I have a whole theater full of students like this who will be doing prompt engineering, learning how to build the models real time, using open source, how to build proprietary models in this lecture theater here actually. And we'll be just going hard at it so to ensure that we have more potential graduates that can come to you. But with that being said, I think we should probably look at a partnership in getting that going because we're going to need the two sides. We're going to need the graduates and the interns, and you're going to need internal staff understanding how to use it here. Because when you buy the vendor products, sometimes you need to question what they're really giving you, because they are a threat actor themselves too. They might be collating data and holding that data from you in the back end based on the tools that they have there. But it's a whole conversation by itself, so I'll leave it at that.
If I may take it from another angle also, we spoke about some of the skill sets that we definitely need to be looking at right now, not even in the near future, but no. But just to mention and to pull back in the need for those useful partnerships internationally, look at the WCO. They have what they call the Picard program, where they actively work with universities and other academia on customs matters. So you do actually have other universities globally that are involved in promoting customs instructions. And so what they seek to do is to advance customs-related academic research. They also seek to promote customs professionalism, because when you look at it, it's not just about necessarily a skill set. We're also looking at professionalism in customs as we're going forward. That's something that we want to promote. And in looking at that sort of academic research, you will come across things like, okay, in terms of AI, what do we need? You can mine and you can drill down for that sort of information from the data that you will be gathering as to what customs need, how can we get there, putting forward these various theses and breaking it down and all of that, and of course doing the data analysis on it to see how we can improve our operations, how can customs move forward in the 21st century. And I will say that commendations should go out, I believe, to our CEO and also to our planning and research branch, who have really been pushing Jamaica Customs Agency in terms of call for papers when the annual conferences come around. And we have actually had, I believe, and Earl can perhaps back me up, we've had 2 representatives from the agencies who their papers are actually presented at this international conference. And so I believe we're moving in the right direction, and we're mining some of this data that we have at our fingertips. The information is there. It's for us to pull it out and to push our very qualified staff. We have a cadre of really qualified staff in customs that I don't think we're maximizing on. So it's to push some of these initiatives to actually help us to get to that point where, yes, we can drill down on the AI, what we need from this, the data analytics, what's it saying, what do we need to do next, and that sort of thing.
Thank you very much, Lady Tina Brown. Thank you so much, panelists. I think our day has been well spent. I know most of us have not yet refreshed ourselves where having our meals or lunches are concerned. And so, of course, I will be ensuring that you get that opportunity. I see some of the students gearing up that they have to leave as their transportation, and we don't want to anyone to leave prematurely. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank all of you. I want to thank all our panelists. I want to thank all our online viewers. I want to thank the Jamaica Customs Agency, the University of Technology, Northern Caribbean University, Caribbean Maritime University, the University of the West Indies, Excelsior Community College, the IT department, the ISD department, a branch of the Jamaica Customs Agency, and all our supporters, all the persons who really pulled to bring off this event to make it the success that it has been. I'd like to thank top senior management. I'd like to thank all the staff coming in from far and near to ensure that today was successful. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we were all here. We would have heard the salient points. I have jotted down quite a few, and I'm sure that persons would have jotted down too and made mental notes of what it is that Customs has to offer and how you can streamline your plans to ensure that you are meeting the criteria to ensure that you can fit into this sphere of what it is that we do, if it is that you intend on seeking a career with the Jamaica Customs Agency or in any other field that you may. And we saw the importance of artificial intelligence, how it drives what almost everything that we're doing today. And so it's not that we can exist without it, and that we need it to augment what it is that we do and how best we can implement and employ AI to better do what it is that we do in our service delivery and also in improving our own status and stature. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you all. Thank you all for coming. I'd like to express thanks on behalf of the CEO and the management team of the Jamaica Customs Agency. Thank all of you, our media personnel, our videographers and photographers, our audio and sound technicians. We want to express heartfelt appreciation and gratitude to you. Thank you so much, Professor Thorpe. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to utilize the University of Technology. At this time, I invite us all to stand as the national anthem will close us out.
Jamaica, 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 land we love. Teach us true respect for all. Stir response to duty's call. Strengthen us the weak to cherish. Give us vision lest we perish. Knowledge send us every further. Grant true wisdom from above. Justice and truth be ours forever. Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica, 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 land we
Ladies and gentlemen, we have refreshment for you before you leave. Just to make your way to the outside, we have some refreshment for you. All right. Please come for your bag, Miss NCU.